hello, and welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of this ragtag group of heroes and adventurers.
Hi everybody, I'm Claire. I'm playing Mira, who's a Dragonborn Sorcerer, half red dragon, half silver dragon. Originally was a bit of a politician, and now has joined the adventuring life, probably to a greater extent than she ever expected.
I'm Michael. I'm playing Lockie, a Warforged Artificer. Originally was part of a flying castle, but I've since left and resumed an adventure with my now friends.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Jared, and I play the character of Jin. He is a level 6 Law Bard and a level 2 Hexblade Warlock. I'm currently an associate and ally of the Tempest Guild, and I'm helping them in their goal of stopping the Queen of Dragons, Tiamat.
Hello, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Shana, the Yuan-Ti Sorcerer, who is traveling with the Tempest Adventuring Guild, trying to find the other half of her soul, who is hiding somewhere away, far from reach.
Hi guys, I'm Matt, playing Yervith, the sneaky Wood Elf Ranger and Rogue, who, after a tragic incident in the jungle with his previous expedition, has now joined up with this lovely ragtag group of adventurers and is looking to see what happens next.
Two, three. Hello! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lost Archives. My name's Owen, and we are playing Dungeons and Dragons, the Tyranny of Dragons Campaign. Welcome back. It's so lovely to see all your beautiful faces again. We've missed you guys. It's been a full week since we played D&D. For some of us play D&D every single day now. Isn't that right, Michael?
Yes.
Why do you sound so bashful?
That sounds like the dream.
Yeah, I was going to say that's something to be proud of. And apparently he does it on like work hours for some of them. Like he's actually paid for his hours for 2 of those sessions.
I've started a D&D campaign with some year 5s.
Hell
so
yeah.
as part of their curriculum activities, we're now playing D&D, and it's amazing.
Every day, though. Oof.
Well, twice this week, and we'll see how it pans
Shout out to all teachers doing D&D as part of their curriculum.
Yeah,
great call. Keep doing that. And actually, our RPG story of the night will actually be coming from Michael. He's got an RPG story about a particularly exciting encounter between a warlock and some assassins.
Yes.
Ooh.
So as our characters are being described, as the game is literally starting off, the player just slips in that, he's being attacked by a bunch of people already. I was like, not the way it usually goes, but all right, let's roll with it. I get attacked by 10 guys. I'm like, really? 10? Like, do you want 10? Like, don't you want? And it's like, okay, maybe 5. So we're like, all right, 5 guys are now around you, and I quickly bring up the stats for assassins. And 5 guys are around you, and then so what do you do? I'm going to cast this little fire spell, immolates 3 of them, and one of them immediately gets robbed by their thief. And then the barbarian with, quote, heart of gold jumps in to help. A fight ensues, and then they get chased out of the town by guards because they just burnt down a festival.
There's consequences.
Because there's consequences in D&D.
There are consequences.
And that was the first session, so we're off to a great start. I'm real excited.
Yeah, don't burn down towns, folks.
Also, when you're level 1, like you can maybe handle like a horse or like a dog.
Yeah.
10 assassins?
10 assassins. Okay.
You're a scrub.
Maybe like
little
one
scrubby boy.
minute.
Yeah. No, it's
I like that getting run out of town with burning in flames is kind of our MO.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Actually, that's a good point, because the very second episode of this campaign started with you guys running into town with it burning to the ground.
Such a change.
Really turning that like on its head, like, because that's usually it's the other way around, right? Like,
yeah. These guys ran in to save the day and only resulted in more of the town burning down, and then they stopped it. So it was good. Like it was great progression.
Fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like that scene from SpongeBob SquarePants where like SpongeBob's like, "We did it, Patrick. We saved the town. The town's just destroyed."
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, SpongeBob. Oh my god.
That is usually what my characters do.
Yeah, that's it. Now we've had some requests come in. So since we started doing the Avatar Legends stream, there's a little group of people who really want me to start doing a One Piece tabletop RPG. Now that doesn't yet exist I will have a look at the feasibility of creating an entire tabletop RPG based around One Piece and how easy that's going to be. If I do this, it will be based on Powered by the Apocalypse, same as Avatar Legends, because then I don't have to come up with a huge amount of mechanics and balance. I can allow things like Devil Fruit powers and all that to still fit under the same 4 stats that Powered by the Apocalypse works under. I'm thinking about it. I'm considering it strongly. A, because I quite like One Piece. I've not watched every single episode. I've mostly been enjoying One Piece, which is the fillers cut out and abridged version of One Piece that you can find on the internet, which I quite enjoy, just because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in One Piece. There's a lot of episodes. I do enjoy One Piece. I love the world building. I love the characterization. I love the silly fun of it. I love that about Avatar as well. So I'm thinking about it. If this is something you really, really want, put it in the comments. Let me know. I just before I commit to creating an entire tabletop RPG, I just want to know how much interest there is. I am tempted. Let me put it that way. I'm intrigued and tempted by this request from the fans. I'm thinking about it. The other exciting news I have is that we now have a wiki page for the Lost Archives. If you go to the Lost Archives wiki page at Fandom, you can start finding the beginnings of our wiki page, which covers previous episodes, characters, the breakdown of some of the lore. It's very much a work in progress. I'm updating it as I go. Another really, really good suggestion from the fans. Thank you very much for suggesting that. So it's a work in progress, but yeah, I'm going to be updating that as we go along, and I'll have eventually all of the information there. Currently, we have the main cast of the Tyranny of Dragons stream. The people around me right now have their pages mostly set up and ready to rock and roll, including actual stats and actual levels, actual HP, everything like that, where they actually are, and as well as their class features that they've chosen as well. I will be doing it for all the cast, main and guest who've joined us, and also past characters. So Jared obviously played a previous character way back at the very beginning. Emmerich, I'll chuck his stats up as well. It's going to be a work in progress. If there's any things that you guys know or that you've noticed, or any quotes that you really, really like, send through your favorite character quote, because I'm going to have one at the beginning of each article, each character profile. And I'd love to know if there's any quotes that you guys really, really love about these characters. My personal favorite was, "That's not how magic works," for me when I'm trying to sort of deal with Ali and Claire's ridiculous suggestions about using shape water and a decanter of endless water to create a literal shield of ice around an entire airship. I stand by that. Not how magic works. Not how magic works. No, look, I respect the play. I respect the play. Dream big. It's good.
Hustle.
Exactly. That is all the news from me. Does anyone else have any fun news to share? No.
Not really.
Just been a regular week. Perfect. Well, let's escape to the fun-filled fantasy world of Tyranny of Dragons. Although we're not jumping right back into a very fun-filled episode, I should say. So let me do the quick recap and we will get back into it. The Tempest Adventuring Guild, a group of mercenaries, explorers, and adventurers, has been working to thwart the machinations of a group known as the Order of the Dragon. This cult has been amassing power, wealth, and knowledge in an attempt to perform a ritual to bring a dark draconic god, Tiamat, back into the world. Our story has been following the escapades of some of the members of this group: Mira, Jin, Lockie, Yervith, and Shana, who have travelled to Chiari, the draconic nation, to work against the cult's actions there. Despite facing overwhelming odds, the party have succeeded in driving the cult out of Velixer. With many of the children of Tiamat now killed or captured, and Sidus, the sinister black dragon, being driven from the city's still in ruin. The victory hasn't been one of triumph, but sorrow. The damage the cult has wrought can't be washed away so quickly and so easily. The city is still recovering, people searching for their friends and loved ones lost during the conflict, homes destroyed, and fires still burning. We left our party at the home of Elia, recovering and resting following the toughest battle they've faced this day. After Mira spent some time assisting the townsfolk, recovering and finding their loved ones and putting out the numerous fires that have been burning across the city, Yervith had a bit of time to meditate, focus. Jin had a well-deserved nap, and Shana as well, and a bit of a conversation with their patron, Varys. Jin seems to be finding Varys' instructions harder and harder to bear. However, Shana seems more than happy to follow Varys' instructions for the moment. We left off last session right as the entire group have done a level up. So, we're actually going to start tonight's session quickly going through some of the cool new things that you've got as part of your level up to level 11. Now, for those of you who are multi-classing, please let me know which level you have taken your level up in. Actually, I think it's... Yeah, we'll do that then. So, Ali, have you been able to get your D&D Beyond character sheet up and running? Fantastic. Well, do you want to go first then? No pressure?
Why not?
No pressure?
Yeah, no pressure. None at all. So I took a 3rd level in Warlock. Just thought it could be fun keeping with the theme, and ended up getting my 3rd level of Warlock and picking up Pact of the Chain.
Pact of the Chain. Okay, nice. What form are you hoping for your familiar?
I was thinking Imp could be quite fun.
Imp. Okay. Perfect, Mundo. When you first summon your imp, I will describe what that experience looks like to you. Just so you know. Pact of the Chain's a good one. That makes a lot of sense. Brilliant. So yeah, following your conversation with Varys the previous night, you've made a commitment to Varys, and he is more than happy to gift you more Warlock power in return. So yes, level up in Warlock. Fantastic. Lockie, you have taken a level up in Artificer Armorer. Would you like to take us through your new features?
Indeed. I've only just got the one, but it's a doozy. So I can now create a spell storing item.
Ooh.
So I can put a spell into an object, and whenever I finish a long rest, I can touch a simple martial weapon or item and use it as my focus. So now it's a 1st or 2nd level spell that requires 1 action. I don't have to have it prepared. And here's the kicker. If I give someone else the item, they can cast it. Or if I can hold on, I can cast it. But I can cast it 8 times in a long rest.
So basically, it's
Nice.
8 free spell slots of a single spell,
8
essentially.
free spell slots. So what I've done...
7 free spell slots, because you have to cast 1 to do it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically.
It's still fucking amazing.
That's great.
Amazing. So what I've done is... Because Lockie spent some time in the library, because he wants to look into the ball that they got. So he's a little bit ADD, because I'm a little bit ADD, and he used his distracted time to start tinkering with something.
Okay.
Thinking about the stuff that he'd been doing in the last fight, and like shunting the dragon slightly at a time. So I've popped the spell. Wait, let me just grab it, which one it was, because it's going to be hilarious. Into it, which is void. What was it? Where are you? 2nd level. Sorry, guys. Where are you? Oh, I took it off because it's the void one. The void one. So it's the gravity time manipulation one.
Ooh,
because
okay.
he's made what looks like maybe a little hourglass on what would be a gyroscopic dome. So you spin it to cast his spell. Sure.
7 times.
7 times.
It's nuts. That's insane. What spell are you thinking?
The void one. What was it? Right, you second. Vortex Warp. That's the one.
Vortex Warp. Very, very nice. Alrighty, Mira. I'm guessing you've taken a level up in Sorcerer rather than multi-classing.
Oh yeah. We're getting to the good bit of Sorcerer now. After level 12, they get a bit nuts.
They get spicy.
Oof.
They get good. But level 11 Sorcerers, they get another spell slot, so I have a level 6 spell slot now.
Very nice.
Which is nice. And my cantrips have leveled up. It's just a bit nice. And I have almost 100 hit points.
I know, as a squishiest member, now almost approaching triple. Yervith's looking confused.
Yeah, I've already got 83. That's crazy.
I got 91.
Yeah, I got 93.
Yeah,
Wow.
91.
90.
I'm weak as. What the hell?
So because
How is this happening?
because Mira is Draconic Ancestry Sorcerer,
Draconic Ancestry.
she's tougher. She gets more hit points each level.
That checks out.
Alrighty, Jin, you have taken a level in Bard, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Take us through it.
So basically, this level of Bard got me level 5 spellcasting.
and I got 1 spell slot. And I got 1 spell. So nothing too crazy for this level, but how I'm going to flavor it is as Jin awakes from his nap, and he's just sort of lounging around in his room, he starts to notice that he can start moving some objects around the room. Never been able to do that before. And he starts thinking to himself, what's the go here? What's actually happening? So he starts moving other things around, starts figuring out that he can animate objects.
Ooh, that's cool.
So,
Cool.
College of Creation?
it's not. It's just a
Just a spell.
just a spell, level 5 spell, animate objects.
Right.
So basically, I can animate a bunch of tiny objects, or there's like 5 different like levels to it, really. Like tiny, small, medium, large, and huge. So I can make one huge object. I can make a bunch of tiny little ones, and then you can just do a bunch of cool stuff with them.
That's awesome.
So from a flavor-wise, it's only 1 spell, so it's nothing too crazy. But I imagine for the morning, he would just sort of be tinkering with that and learning about it on more of like just a low level. Like obviously, I'm not going to use a level 5 spell slot to do it, but I guess he'll start just realizing some of his potential and capacity to use it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of makes sense as well, like given that once again, Varys has offered you more power, and once again, you've refused. It does kind of make sense that the next morning, as you go to sort of see what your growth is, you're like, yeah, I refused Varys's gifts of instant power. I still have work to do if I want to be able to do things. If I want to become stronger, I now have to work for it. It's not just a exchange of gifts. It's now, it's a journey.
Well, yeah, and that's something Jin remembers as well, that Shana was so keen to just jump on.
Thirsty is the word I would say.
Very thirsty to just take on Varys' thing. That's a question I actually want to ask Owen.
Yeah.
The stone that was given out to place on the wizards' heads.
Yeah.
Do we both have one each, or does?
Just
Shana. I don't
Shana.
think because I never took one.
You never took one, so just Shana has one, as
Okay.
far as you're aware.
I'll take that into account. We'll take that into consideration.
Okay. And lastly, Yervith. You're a Ranger Rogue. I'm guessing you've taken Ranger level.
Definitely have, yes. I have 100% taken a level in Ranger to further increase my Dragon Warden abilities. I have gained at the level 7 Ranger, I have gained, if I look at my class features, Bond of Fang and Scale, which is really exciting. Basically means that my little Eleanor now has wings. She's counted as a medium creature now, which is very exciting. I can't fly her yet, but I can mount her. I can ride on her without flying. We can just travel along the ground if we want to. I get Magic Fang, so the Drake's Bite does an extra 1d6 damage, and the type chosen from the Drake's Draconic Essence. Pretty cool. And I get resistance depending on what color she is. So if she's green, I get acid resistance. If she's red, I get fire resistance, so on and so forth.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we did role play last time as well. I remember that Eleanor's winged form now is yeah. And I should actually add as well to that, her in that dream that you had where you felt that really that strong bond to that draconic spirit again, and you sort of looked down and saw the scales growing across your hand and those claws in place. Eleanor's horns, spikes, and general features are moving much more to that of a dragon, and when you wake up and summon her again, there's less dog, more dragon now. That sort of square jaw has become much more prominent, the teeth much more carnivorous, curved, larger in sizes. Spikes down the back as well, far more prominent, and the tail almost has this, almost like this pointed tip, because I think the last time you had it was green dragon form. So in that case, then it's almost like this paddle-shaped tip at the end. These protrusions of flesh allowing her to move through the water with ease, or through swampland with this sort of large paddle-shaped tip.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Amazing.
Definitely much more adapted now to that draconic.
I'm
form.
imagining quite large too, or not large per se, but big, much bigger than what she was.
Definitely bigger, yeah. I mean, when you first got Eleanor, she was the size of a puppy, of a kitten. And over the past few weeks, she has grown larger and larger and larger.
Yeah.
She's now, I would say, probably the large of a deerhound or a Great Dane. Huge dog.
Wow.
Yes. She's gotten quite large as well.
Okay.
So, As you guys awaken, discover these new aspects of yourself, these new powers, and find yourself sort of blinking awake. Clifford the Big Red Dragon, nice. You see the sunlight sort of streaming in. The smell of smoke still hangs low over the city. It's that sort of acrid smell of burning wood, and unfortunately the smell of some burning flesh as well still lingers in the air. You can see that some of the servants have placed some incense along the outer balcony to try and ward off this smell, but it's still there underneath the surface, this scent of destruction and death. As you awaken slowly and begin sort of blinking into the light, look around, you can see your companions sort of coming out of their rooms, sort of stretching stiffly, having healed from the night before, the day before, but still muscles sore from overexertion. Maybe some scars or some wounds that haven't fully healed yet, still visible on your bodies. Clothing still torn or burnt in places where it took hits. You look like a group of people who have been through hell and back and have had one sleep to recover from it. And as you look around, you see your companions all with you looking very much the same. Lockie probably still has instead of Lockie having like torn clothes or anything like that, Lockie's got a few dents and scratches in his armor still in place.
You're doing a buff. You're buffing.
Yeah, as you guys come out, you see Lockie like buffing away at his armor on his breastplate, just going like rapid fire moving his hand up and down to try and like buff out the. Not like that. Don't make it weird. Stop making it weird.
I think Jin's gonna be walking around gingerly like he's recovering from a hangover. He has just sort of walking around, just not his usual lively stuff. He's like, hey, hi there, yes, nice to see you all. Yep, good morning. And he's just walking really slowly around, all gingerly like.
Yeah, you guys see Jin.
Some form of breakfast.
Well, that you guys don't know. As you get up and look around, there's not many servants about. You can see that they have they've lit the incense, but there's no one really around.
That was going to be my point of order. First order of the day. Mira would have been up and organising the kitchen.
Well, there's obviously no food around. I still have some pastries if anyone would like some from my bag of holding.
Oh my, you still have
just look at everyone just like dumbfounded.
Can you still make those very good berries?
Oh yes.
Perhaps
That was.
It's just if there's no other option.
Why did everyone ignore me?
No reason.
I think your joke there is getting a little bit stale.
I throw one at like Yervith's head, and it takes like probably one HP off it.
Can I dodge it?
You don't need to. As Jin throws this, Eleanor's tail knocks it out of the air away from Jin, using this sort of like paddle-shaped tail, just knocks it out, and you just watch as this pastry just goes flying over the buildings and disappears from view.
Okay, no need to mark one off.
I can of course make some very good berries, but I think
I was just thinking you might
might
not have time. It's just Is anyone else really worried about Leosin, the ship, and Bacchus, and everything else, and the core that's on the ship that I'm kind of freaking out about?
The what was it again? The Nexus node? Is that what Lockie called it?
Yes, and it is on the ship, and I also am a bit worried about it.
We should probably make a move there then. I can make some very good berries, if you would like.
I was thinking maybe we could just have breakfast on the road.
Works for me. Did anyone notice anything different about Eleanor today? Like, kind of like cracks a little bit of a smile, like,
Oh, Dad.
look at my girl. she's getting big.
As you guys look, Eleanor's got wings, and she's a bit bigger.
Oh, very nice. We're coming into your wings. Look. He'll just give her a little look over, make sure, it's growing right, and it's not like, she's not doing the dragon version of W sitting and ruining her knees.
Nice. As you guys are having this discussion, looking over Eleanor, a shadow suddenly passes over the land in front of you. The house is plunged into darkness for a few seconds as a large winged shape flies overhead. As it wheels around and lands in the courtyard, you see the giant silver dragon form of Elia. As she lands, the large claws just about touching the earth, you watch as her form collapses down into this silver dragon form, silver draconic dragonborn form, the large silver wings. As she looks up at the balcony and sees you all, you can see that she has very dark rings marking her silver scales under her eyes. She looks tired and haggard. She gives you a sort of a gentle wave and begins walking down to the base of the stairs, to the balcony where you guys are. After a few moments, she climbs the stairs. Good morning. How are you all doing today? Have you had a chance to rest and recover?
Yes.
I personally had a good sleep in. Sorry.
Well, I don't sleep that much, but I do feel much more refreshed. Elliot, how are you? More to the point.
I haven't had a chance to sleep yet. I'm sure I'll find some time soon. I've been required around the city. There's a lot of work to do. A lot of mending to go. I understand that you are probably quite concerned about your ship and your companions. I did notice Bacchus had been captured. You'll be pleased to know that Bacchus has been freed. He had been sealed down in the catacombs with us beneath the... We can hear you drinking that gin.
Did you actually?
Bit of free ASMR.
It up.
It's
Not bad. I lost
Gin's just there like sipping on a juice. She's telling the story.
Drink orange juice, like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I lost the straw for it, so it makes a noise. So it's perfect. Okay, I will be sipping on
Gin's just there like
orange juice.
sipping a juice. Everyone's like, where the fuck did he get that juice from? Never mind.
You also see some other things I snagged from the kitchen.
Yeah.
In a bag.
Elia sort of nods at Jin, gives him a look.
I wave.
Yes,
There's a lot of breadcrumbs on my clothes.
Yes. Well, Bacchus had been captured, it seems. He assured me that most of his staff had been allowed to keep working. The guard had only had orders to capture him when they were there, so hopefully your goods are fine and your ship is fine as well. I did accompany Bacchus on a quick short flight to his estate. I didn't go the full way, but I could see that your ship was still there. It didn't look like it had been damaged, so I think your things are still fine. I've also spoken with Fafnir, given the current situation. He has agreed to grant you and I access to his archive. It seems that he had also been compelled to allow others access, and he is anxious to discover what has been taken. He has not yet found anything missing, but believes that the only reason people would gain access is to steal from him. It would just be the paranoia of an old dragon protecting his hoard, but there will be something else there. If you wanted to accompany
could have come in the chaos. Perfect time for the looters.
Indeed. Well, we have a few hours before he expects us there.
Elliot, I was going to mention the airship, our airship that we came here on. Did you see it at the estate? Were you in that area at all?
Yes, I accompanied Bacchus part of the flight back. I had other duties around that area. I could see the ship from a distance. It seemed unharmed as far as I could tell, still flying.
That's good news.
Indeed, yes, indeed, very good
Did
news.
you listen at all?
No, I wasn't that close to pick out figures. The airship's quite large and quite visible from a distance. I could see the airship itself still floating, but no people from that distance, sorry.
Do we have any way of communicating with the Earth?
Yes, there are potentially ways that we could contact. There are spells that we can use, spells like sending or other magical communication means. If any of you have that spell, you could use that. Otherwise, I can get one of my stewards or one of my arcanists to come and cast the spell for you. I
do believe it would be good to touch base with him. It's been a little while since we've had contact, and I'm sure he's gone through a bit of a spot of bother as well.
Indeed, yes, we can certainly try. I will summon one of my arcanists to come and assist. Hopefully, they can find.
I think for some peace of mind, that would be good.
Do you have any items that are Leosin's or any things that he's touched just to help with the spell, locating him?
I'll look to Mira. Do you have anything of the essence?
I don't think so. Some stationery. Does that count?
If it was his and if he's handled it, it might increase the chances of the spell succeeding. Yes, that could come in handy.
I'll give her a business card because Leosin was the one who made them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ages ago. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
She takes the business card, looks at it. I'll do my best with this. I'll see what I can do. Okay,
You can keep it if you need our services again.
I think she knows. But good job, Lockie, advertising. Yes.
Yervith, is it just me or is Eleanor looking a bit different?
Oh, yes. She seems to have grown up a little bit. You can see her wings have come in, and she seems a little bit more draconic, I think. More defined features.
Indeed. Well, I was going to potentially leave this till later, but with the news that we might be able to go visit Fafnir and look through his archive, perhaps now is a good time. Would you accompany me to the council? The whole purpose for your visit here was to have Yervith speak to the council to show his connection to Eleanor and hopefully use that as an opportunity to promote unity with dragons and other races.
As much as I would love to pick over some old dusty books in some dank library somewhere, I think talking to some council members sounds good. That's why I'm here. Happy to help.
Wonderful. Well,
It'd be an honor.
Very, very gracious of you, Yervith. Thank you. The rest of you are obviously free to come. The council have expressed their desire to thank each of you in person for your heroic deeds and for driving off Sidus, the Black Dragon. You'll be pleased to know scouts have been sent out to try and locate him, and we have confirmed that it is very unlikely he is still on Chiari. However, where he has gone now, I imagine only the cult know. We will be anxiously searching for any sign of a cult outpost, a hideaway, anything in the surrounding areas.
And if you do manage to find their whereabouts, you will need to be notified.
Absolutely. I will make sure that you are told immediately, as soon as the council are informed. You will be my next port of call. Well, I had better take you to the council chambers. If you would mind coming out with me, I can carry you on my back once again.
Lead the way.
Excellent. With that, Elia leads you down the stairs, back out to the courtyard, back into her full silver dragon form, lays her sort of shoulder down on the ground so you can all climb on, and then takes off with this sudden rush of wings. Again, that sensation of your stomach dropping out from underneath you as she lifts up into the air rapidly. Eleanor flying along beside.
I was gonna say that's cool.
Choosing to fly along next to you, banking in the wind for the very first time, moving her wings to capture. Flight at first is quite clumsy, but soon she captures the updrafts as the morning sun rises over the city and creates these thermals rising up. She begins banking and weaving around, catching these thermals and riding up straight up, and then immediately plummeting down at a full drop, sort of getting used to her wings and her flight. Initially, Yervith, the emotion that you feel inside that emotional response that you feel is one of fear and apprehension, but it quickly transforms into excitement, elation. And you sort of find yourself laughing aloud with her, that emotion being so powerful inside of you that you find yourself sort of smiling with this big stupid grin, laughing aloud as she weaves and ducks and moves with the air, flying straight up through a cloud and then dropping down the other side again, playing. Enjoying, having fun. Down below, those of you with a passive perception of more than 16, which I think is most of you. It's Yervith, Jin. Oh, just Yervith and Jin. In that case, then Yervith, you're kind of caught up in the 10. That's all right. It's double digits.
Passive perception.
Shana always has snakes for legs. She is a Yuan-Ti Naga forever. Brune brass axe. Just in case you're wondering, she is a variant Yuan-Ti. She has a Naga lower body forever. That is how she appears. It is a side effect of the curse that transformed her into a Yuan-Ti. So Shana is like half wrapped around one of the spikes, curling her like tail around one of the back spikes of Elia, and then like clinging on with her hands on the front one, just being like, "Don't fall off, don't fall off, don't fall off, don't fall off." As she goes the entire time.
It's pleasing and terrified.
Yeah. Snick and a fly. Yeah, Jin, as they're flying overhead, you can see that the people sort of looking around. There's some people pointing, looking at this very unfamiliar sight. This tiny dragon-like form, banking and weaving, flying in the wind, and clearly enjoying itself. And you can hear from below, sort of filtering up through the air and through the ground below. You can hear the occasional like whoa, like gasps of excitement and enjoyment coming from the ground below as they see this beautiful sight, sunlight glinting off Eleanor's bright green scales. She banks and weaves, moving around. Yeah, it's something very interesting.
That's so cute.
This response. It's a very short flight to the council chambers. You can still see one half of the building where it was partially collapsed by the battle, the wall that was partially caved in by Sidus's sort of being pushed back towards the edge of the council chambers. And as Elia flies in and pushes through the opening, you can see that most of the rubble has been cleared. The guard around are dressed in their most resplendent armor, weapons polished, shining, armor glinting and reflective, standing to attention, and there are hundreds of them, lining the avenue up towards the council chambers and around the outside of the council. Inside, you can see there are at least 6 guards around each plinth, with the elder dragons perched atop them. Most sad of all is the empty plinth, where you know that once Iandrith, Elia's mother, sat. As Elia flies in and lands, dropping you guys off and transforming back into her draconic dragonborn form, she bows very deeply to the council. Standing the very center, gold scales glinting in the morning sun that shines through the large stained glass windows all the way around, you can see the resplendent form of Pinedrinth, the large gold dragon that you rescued last session. Pinedrinth bows very deeply, her head lowered to the floor, and you see Elia sort of look up a little bit startled, and some of the guards share glances. You get the sense that this is not something the elder dragons do very often. Pinedrinth looks up, and you hear the voice sort of speak out as she opens her mouth. "We have you to thank for our lives and our city's freedom. If it were not for you and your companions, we would still be locked in the chambers below, facing a fate worse than death. The knowledge that while we die, our city dies with us. We thank you, and we are forever in your debt, Tempest Adventuring Guild." She bows very low. As she does so, the other 3 dragons on the council, the large blue dragon, the large bronze green dragon, bow with her, heads low to the floor. And as they do, all of the guards around, all 100 guards, immediately drop to one knee. Swords held up, unsheathed, held up, pulled against the breastplate, making this sort of loud clattering noise as they unsheath swords against their breastplates. Elia sort of stands and looks around a little bit surprised. You can see Eleanor, as the sound of this shunk, the sound of the armor being clattered by the weapons, pushes up against your legs, Yervith, sort of momentarily afraid of the noise and expecting some sort of like combat. Given the last time she was in here, it wasn't quite fun. I guess my question then is, what are your kind of reactions to this? This is probably not what you were expecting. Jin.
So, I was actually thinking this. Jin is sort of like the cocky, arrogant sort of like, he always thinks he's sort of got like a hold, like a sort of like a hold on things, and always has some witty comment to come up with. But I think at the sight of like 3 or 4 ancient dragons that are massive, 100 to 200 guards all in resplendent armor, I think even for Jin, this would like give him a sense of humility.
Yeah.
I think he would. I was thinking of coming up with some like razzle and dazzle, like casting some minor illusions and stuff to make, I don't know, to like do myself up. But I think in this, I think I'm just gonna go simple. I think he'd just be a little shocked, even him. Like, I think this is quite a momentous moment I think even he can catch on that this isn't a regular thing that just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a real moment of kind of growth and realization for Jin, being like, oh shit, my actions have consequences, and sometimes really good ones.
Like, normally he always has something to say, but I don't think he has any words for this one.
I think that's similar to Yervith, except maybe not more from probably not from a charismatic perspective, but more just from he's spent majority of his life hiding in the shadows and being not seen, and now he's suddenly here, in front of everyone, and he's kind of feeling wow, this is what it's like to be noticed and to be appreciated for your actions.
Does your chest puff up even more because this is the first time that you feel noticed, respected?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird feeling. It's almost Yervith is always on edge and always feeling he's got something targeting him or someone's out to get him. But for a brief couple of seconds, he feels this kind of this is a good feeling. This is nice. He just feels just really seen and it's a strange feeling for him, but he takes it all in his stride.
Shana.
Opposite. She's feeling deeply uncomfortable because as far as she's concerned, she, along with her mates, got captured, fired off a couple of shots, died, and then was sort of, didn't really participate quite as much in the fight. And so she's sort of feeling like she sort of got this false valor kind of thing. She's sort of shrunk down a little bit. She's probably sneakily tried to sort of maneuver herself to the back because she's sort of feeling like, I'm a bit of an outsider, I don't deserve this kind of thing, as far as she's concerned.
No, absolutely.
Wow.
Lockie. Your humility circuits are just fried out.
No, he's kind of struggling a little bit.
2 Christmas working hard.
I don't have a god complex. I am God.
He's kind of struggling a little bit to not to understand. He gets a sign of respect, but he's I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what to think or to say, and he's also a little worried because there's a lot of people here, and this last time they were here, it wasn't great. So he's probably
my pattern recognition systems have identified this place as one of danger.
Exactly. He's kind of sidled a little bit close to Mira and is sort of maybe cheating his shield in her direction just a little bit, just in case something goes really goes down and goes bad.
Oh, wow.
Because he doesn't quite know what's going on. And
yeah, absolutely. Finally, Mira.
Yeah.
Saved you for last for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So she sees the various levels of discomfort of her friends around her, and I think she'll. I was actually going to ask, can I read the room? You said that the guards have all kind of gone down, but are there Dragonborns around as well?
They're all Dragonborn. All the guards are Dragonborn.
Not just the guards, just normal people. I don't know.
Yeah, so there definitely are. Yeah, there are, and you can see behind the guards there are a number of Dragonborn civilians as well. It looks to be a mixture of some members of the university, potentially some members of the political factions. Definitely. Yeah, this chamber is full.
Okay. And Ilya, where is she standing?
She's standing right at the front, having dropped you guys off and transformed back into draconic form, draconic dragonborn form, ready to introduce you again to the council, and then being sort of surprised by this as well.
Okay. I think, so she just kind of takes that all in, and then Mira will step forward, and she'll gesture for Yervith especially to come, and then she'll stand next to Ilya and say to the dragons, I've not been a citizen of Chari for some time. I thought I needed to go away and learn my place. But I believe for all Dragonborn now, our place is here with our future going forward. And she'll reach out and reach for Ilya's hand and for Yervith's.
Cool.
Okay. you take both their hands. I'm assuming, Yervith, that's up to you if you...
Yeah. I
think
think Yervith would accept it. Like, he knows it's like, this is why he's here, and this is what this is the way that his destiny is taking him. So he just goes with it.
I love that.
Maybe with a slight level of hesitation, but
it's a slightly sweaty hand. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sweaty. Elia grips your hand tightly, and you feel a squeeze. Mira, she takes your hand and squeezes it. Pindrenth nods very, very deeply once again, raises her large golden head high. Yes, you speak much wisdom, Mira. Though you may not have been a resident of Chiari, you have always been a child of it, and a child of this city, Veloxer. Your travels seem to have brought you much strength and wisdom. Maybe there are things that we can learn from the outside world. A representative of a group known as the Equalists was speaking to us this morning. A young dragonborn by the name of Ekani. And you watch as, over towards the side, Akani leans out from around a little section where he's been standing, gives you guys a little wave, and then, realizing the seriousness of the situation, just like a nod and tucks like a series of scrolls back under his breastplate.
Awesome.
Indeed. For a long time, we have done things the way they were always done, back in our own home plane. But we are not there anymore. Time has marched on, and the world with it, leaving us behind. What has happened to our city is evidence of that. We have been divided, a peoples separated by hatreds and prejudice and blindness. That will not be. This council does not exist to allow its city to fester. We have much that we wish to discuss, but have it known that the Council of Five, as of tomorrow, will not exist in its current form. For too long we have been ruled by elders. As elders we have much wisdom, but we do not keep up with the times. We are stuck in our own past. And while that may have worked for our homeland, it does not work for here. With that, I would like to announce a new council. One devised of representatives of both dragons and dragonborn. I would be honored, Elia, if you would represent the dragons and our interests in this council. Along with myself, I think you and I together can represent both the past and the future of dragonkind. We are also calling for 2 representatives from the Dragonborn to step forward as well. Mira, I understand your travels and responsibilities require you to continue on your journey. But should you return, and when you return, know that there is a place here for you in the council.
Unfortunately, my destiny does lie elsewhere, and I will face a choice, a hard one, soon. I can sense it, but should I be successful, I will return.
I understand. Very well. We were hoping you could represent our international interests as our chief ambassador heading forwards. Perhaps your travels further will help prepare you yet more for this role. We hope you accept it when you return.
It is an honor, and Mira will bow. Yervith, with his passive insight, can see that
Like
Mira
19.
is extremely uncomfortable with this.
Yeah.
Now that we have the more pressing news out of the way, Ellie sort of looks and goes, I haven't said whether I'd accept or not. Pindrenth looks back, sort of a bit confused. But of course you would accept. No, not necessarily. I need to figure out what my place in this system is first, Pindrenth. I will let you know. My
Yeah, go Ilya.
my position here is not a given. My mother only just gave her life yesterday for yours. The other elder dragons.
Spicy.
I need to figure out whether or not I'm willing to do the same. Hundredth looks a bit confused at this and sort of looks at the other elder dragons as Duvnin and Yondrith look back and be like, not how we expected this to go.
I just give a small nod to Ilya, like.
Yeah, so do I. I'm there. I'm just like, yeah.
Idrog, the large green male, sort of grumbles in his throat. Very well. Regardless, we have yet to discuss the matter of the hybrid creature bonded to a draconic spirit. This wood elf. Hundredth looks over and nods.
Ooh.
Yes, we indeed have much to discuss. Sorry, that's not a voice. So. Indeed, we do have much to discuss. Elia spoke of this being, a wood elf, somehow bonded to a dragon. We can see this creature is with you. Step forward, Yervith, so that we may have a closer look at you.
Yervith, like, takes a big gulp at the gravity of the situation and just steps forward.
As you step forward, Eleanor stepping with you. Eleanor moves in front of you and takes a defensive stance. Wings pull back. Yeah.
Can I do an inside check? I just want to see like what they're like what.
Read the room. Read the room.
Read the room. Yervith, you can indeed make
right now.
You can indeed make an insight check.
Yep. Amazing.
First roll the night.
Oh,
27, baby.
27. Fucking good.
Yeah.
Yervith. There's a real mix of emotions going on in this room. For most of the Dragonborn and the Draconic Guard, there's shock. Not about you and the situation, more like the news that they're going to dissolve the Council of Five, the ruling body that has existed for the last 400 or 500 years. As far as all living memory goes for Dragonborn, they've only ever known this.
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely not something that you're. No, this isn't your responsibility. This is like responding to that. The Draconic Council, though, are very interested in you. You can see Idrog, the large green dragon, is looking at you with a little bit of hostility. Fronia and Duvnin, the female bronze and blue, seem more curious than anything else. Pinedrenth, face is unfucking readable. You have no idea what she's thinking.
Okay, that's a first. Usually Yervith is a pretty good read. Like, you know, he can obviously, this is what he does. This is how he's survived for so long. But to be met with this is like, okay.
Yeah. Idrog is hard to read, bro. Big gold dragon, hard to read. Could be hungry, could be constipated. You don't know.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, staring down at you. As you step forward, Eleanor moves into position in front of you, wings pulled back, teeth bared, not in a snarl, but just making whatever creature happens to look at her aware that she has teeth and claws, and is in a position to leap to your aid should she need, sort of pushing a little bit in front of you, not allowing you to be front onto them, kind of nudging you to the side and turning you a little bit so that you're not exposing your full front to them. That is your weakest point as an elf, your front. So she's making sure that it's not exposed.
Thank you.
Yeah. As they sort of see this creature, Pinedrenth leans her large golden head down. You see that sort of massive nostrils taking this huge breath, pulling air away. As she gets a little bit closer, this very low growl rises from Elia's jaw, just letting this creature know that's close enough. Pinedrenth respects this ballsy move. Does not come any closer, but does take a big breath in and then leans back. As she does so, you see Duvnin, the large blue male dragonborn, who you encountered the other day, pull up his claws, weave his hands in the air, this large claw, and then some magical effect is cast. You're not sure what. As she sort of leans back. Yes, this smells somewhat familiar. Something old, something I have not smelt since I was but a hatchling. We had a name for such a creature, such a pairing. Elia sort of steps forward. Drake Warden is the word you're looking for, Old One. We found evidence of this, scrolls and ancient records describing a pairing between dragons and humanoids, elves and dwarves, long ago when we first arrived here. But something changed with the ruin. No pairing has existed since. But when the Drakhorn was destroyed, Tiamat's item of power, suddenly, Yervith and this one were bound. And it is my belief that there are others out there, similarly discovering these powers once again. A power that has laid dormant, but is returning right when we need it most. Ilya then bows and steps back. Duvnin sort of grumbles in his throat.
This is no deception. His spirit and the dragons are almost as one, woven tightly with threads of the weave. It is similar to a creature on this planet called a Kalashtar. An elf or a humanoid bonded to a Kori soul.
Yeah, Shana, you should look confused at that. You didn't know that was common knowledge.
Yeah.
You didn't know that people knew that.
That's huge. Okay.
Indeed. This is something very strange. This small dragon, this Drake, has the potential to become as mighty as we are. It is bound to this elf. They are as one.
Idrog sort of leans back, a sneer on his lips.
You tell me that this dragon has been brought low by a bond to some mere elf? What a waste of power. To be held back by a connection to such a small creature.
Pindrinth looks over, and as she goes to say something, Duvnin interrupts.
Idrog, you show your arrogance and your ignorance at the same time. It is not brought low by this creature. It is empowered. This tiny drake is as a dragon is. They both empower each other. To speak of one is to speak of both. But your knowledge speaks of none at all. And your words speak of no knowledge at all.
As soon as Dovnan finishes, Yervith is going to step up. You know, being the charismatic person that he is, he just sort of says, "It is as what Dovnan says. Before finding and bonding with Eleanor, I was just a mere elf, trying to survive in this world, harsh and dark as it is. I did not have much to hold on to care for, to be a part of, but having met my companions and finding Eleanor, I feel that as though I am on a path now that will see us both achieve greatness. We are one and the same, and we will continue to be so until our last breaths."
Nice. Let's say that piece. Duvnin nods. You see Idrog, the large green male, away blustering, no longer making eye contact with any of you. Pindrenth looks back. I propose that we search the city and the surrounding farms and villages to see if any more of his kind have emerged, and if so, bring them to Veloxur for training and preparation. We must understand these Drake Wardens, understand their place in our society, and more importantly, understand their powers, so that we may help them grow. I believe the Drake Wardens could be our best hope for a unified Veloxur and a unified Chiari. Andreth nods once more. Elia sort of looks over and goes, under her breath to you guys, "Yeah, it was my plan all along." Great, thanks for taking it. Yes, thank you, mighty Pindren. Your words of wisdom are well received. Now, if there's nothing further, I believe I should take these heroes back to their airship. They have a lot that they need to do. We were hoping to locate it, and we have an invitation from Fafnir that we should not be late for. Plundrant sort of pauses for a moment. We would reward them with items from our hoard. A debt not paid is an insult to those who are in collecting. We must pay this debt. We cannot let these people leave without first paying this debt back to them. Please, each of you step forward. We have had one of our scholars go through and identify items we think will be suited to each of you.
This is exciting.
Everyone's like, yeah, we'll loot. We didn't get to loot last time, so we'll loot now.
Treasure.
Treasure.
Duvnin, you watch as Duvnin, this large blue dragon, shrinks down and takes on again this draconic blue dragonborn form, steps forward.
Ah, yes. Please, Warforged, step forward.
Hello there.
Hello there indeed. Lockie Hobbs, for services to this city and for all dragonkind, I present you with a curious artifact, one which our most wise have been unable to discern its full range of uses. We suspect that it has come from another plane, arrived by comet over 200 years ago, wrapped in a case of adamantine and lead. Maybe you can discover its uses. And you watch as Lockie reaches into a chest and pulls out a large silver oblong device that seems to be made up of a circular handle with a hollow cylindrical chamber. The entire surface of the handle is covered with numerous buttons, all with strange, indecipherable symbols. You may add an all-purpose tool to your inventory.
Oh my god! Did you just give him...
Cool. So that's all-purpose tool plus 1.
All-purpose tool plus 2.
Did you just give Lockie a sonic screwdriver?
I gave Lockie a sonic screwdriver. I may as well read it out loud for those of you, because some people recognize this instantly.
Okay.
This was introduced in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It is a wondrous item. It's a simple screwdriver, but I'm describing something a little bit different, that can transform into a variety of tools. As an action, Lockie can touch the item and transform it into any type of artisan's tool of his choice. And whatever form the tool takes, he is proficient with it, and he gets a +2 bonus, and he also gets a bonus to spell attack rolls and the saving throw DCs of his artificer spells of +2.
Good. That's
This
good.
is unbelievably good. for
That is
Lockie.
amazing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's insane.
Lockie will look into the hollow drum of it, and it'll catch him off for a second and look at. It looks bigger on the inside.
Nice. Next, Jin, please. Duvnin grumbles.
Yes, Jin, please step forward.
Okay, step forward.
We understand that you are a bard, a performer of some sorts, correct?
Yeah, to an extent. I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of masks and faces, shall we say.
Indeed. Then perhaps this instrument will be of use to you.
And he reaches into a chest and pulls out a Celtic harp made of gold. These beautiful inlaid versions and spirals of clover leaf down the side. It's a sort of... So a Celtic harp is about sort of 30 centimeters tall, about 40 centimeters wide, and he passes it over to you.
This instrument was played by one of the greatest of the Dragonborn bards. Over 150 years ago, Unstruth. This is his harp. We have
Now-
yet to find someone worthy of playing it. Perhaps you are that person.
So quickly, Owen.
Yes.
Would most bards know that name?
Unstruth. Oh yeah, 100%.
Would I know that name?
Jin would know that name
considering
instantly.
I-
Unstruth, yes,
Oh,
Unstruth
okay.
was one of the
Even when
greatest.
I-
Yes, oh
Oh,
yeah.
wow, okay.
You would know the names of the great bards throughout history. Unstruth is widely regarded as the greatest Dragonborn harper that ever existed. Yeah, was well known for being a brilliant harpist, and responsible for a revolution in music and musical theory, as the inventor of 6/8 time in this world. Yeah.
Wow.
So for a harp, that's quite a rapid staccatic tempo. A revolution in music. This is the Unstruth harp. You can add it to your inventory from D&D Beyond.
I'm gonna say, so I haven't heard that person before, but in my backstory, I was walking and I heard like a song being played by an elven maiden, and I'm gonna say that the song she was playing was one of this Dragonborn.
One of his,
renditions.
absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that's one of the first ones I heard, and I'm just gonna look and well, funny story actually. One of the first renditions I ever heard that sort of led me towards a bard was from this Dragonborn bard. So this is quite momentous.
Indeed. Seems rather
Let's give it
appropriate that you would have
Let's give it a whirl. I just start playing it.
Just a quick question. You're not attuned to it yet.
I'm gonna still try and play it though.
Here's what happens. Could you please make me a wisdom saving throw as you attempt to play this without attuning to it?
100% would try to play it.
Okay.
Yeah, you would.
I like you being true to the character.
15.
Oh, 15's the DC. Okay. So if you had fucked this up, you would have taken 6 psychic damage on the spot from trying to play this. Instead, as you play it and as you pluck, the harp's not really something you've had a lot of practice in, Jin. You've played a little bit of harp. You were obviously trained in as part of the Bard's College, but you're proficient in the lyre and the lute, correct?
Let's see.
I think your lyre, lute, bagpipes,
lyre, pan, flute.
Yeah, so a little bit of woodwinds, a little bit of strings. So yeah, I mean, you understand string instruments, and it's a harp is actually quite similar to a lyre or a lute, to be perfectly honest. It's just that rather than having the tune being changed by you changing your fingering position to lock off and shorten the strings, all of the notes are there on the harp. So they're all laid out for you. But yeah, no, as you go to play this, you pluck a very simple melody, but the sound of this thing, it's crystal. This resonant, beautiful, pure tone echoes through the halls, and you can see people sort of like looking up in amazement, like as the echo just continues around, it's crystal tone moving throughout the building. This instrument radiates with power, Jin.
Well, perfect. This will be quite fun.
Nice.
Next, the snake woman, Shana.
They wouldn't have a word for what you are. They've seen you on team before. You're something else. He reaches in and pulls out a strange shard of crystal, Shana, swirling with silver mist.
This is a shard of the astral plane, crystallized and solidified. It was part of a larger experiment conducted by a number of our artificers and arcanists. I've been told that it has interesting effects for those of a sorceress persuasion. It's yours if you would like it.
She's really split. Like, she's like, on one hand, she's like, I fucking don't feel like I don't deserve this. And on the other, that shit could get me closer to getting to Lyra. And so she sort of reaches forward and she's like, I humbly accept with thanks. And then just sort of like stumbles a bit over her words and like
as they notice, as he sort of notices you looking a bit confused, he pauses, and you hear inside your mind, Shana,
with your permission, I would like to ask about the creature known as Lyra.
Whoa.
She replies, she's just go ahead.
I see you seek to return her to corporeal form. Perhaps something to assist with that would be more appropriate.
Yes, anything that I can get that will potentially get one step closer to bringing her back to where she belongs. I'll take it.
Indeed.
We were going... sorry, he says this out loud now.
I was going to present this periapt of wound closure to Mira to keep her safe, keep her body safe from harm, and allow her to return to us in one piece. But perhaps this item could be used to help restore your friend. Mira, you may have the astral shard instead. Your powers as well originate from a sorceress origin. My only fear with presenting you with this shard of astral space was that your sorceress powers come from a red dragon. And we understand that the cult of Tiamat see some desire, some reason for your sorceress powers. I was partly cautious of doing anything to enhance your sorceress powers for that very reason.
Ooh. I was a bit offended by that.
Enjoy. These are ancient dragons who think they're right about everything.
Yeah. I think if, Mira's palms will grow not sweaty but hot with that.
Wow.
But she'll look at Shana and remember what she told her about her story, and she'd be like, Shana, we can share this, and maybe between the two of us, it might help to bring Lara back. That is all I ever want to use my power for, to help others. And she'll just linger on that last S for the benefit of the dragons.
Nice. He hands over the Periapt of Wound Closure to Shana in that case, and the Astral Shard to you, Mira. You may add Astral Shard to your inventory. Shana, you can add Periapt of Wound Closure to your inventory. It actually, honestly, given what happened last session, maybe it's good that Shana keeps the Periapt of Wound Closure. It automatically stabilizes you when you drop to 0 hit points. Might be handy to have one. Might be handy to have around.
Nice.
And lastly, the elf bonded to the Drake spirit. We had a suggestion from Ikani regarding your gift, one that we had problems with initially, but he did a rather good job of talking us around. This saddle, as he pulls out a section of leather strips bound with draconic scales. This saddle was created for the very last dragon rider. Age long since gone. You may have this as a gift and as a promise of what you and your Drake companion will need to live up to. You can add Saddle of the Cavalier to your inventory. While in this saddle on a mount, you can't be dismounted against your will if you're conscious, and attack rolls against your mount have disadvantage.
Oh, shit! Fuck! That's so good. Wow.
Like he sees the saddle pass and pulls a little piece of paper out of his pocket, just crumples it up.
Oh no! Were you working on a saddle? Oh no! I think you were, weren't you? I forgot about that. I forgot you told me that. Oh man.
I mean, bestowed by the ancients.
Exactly, bestowed by the ancients. He knows when he's outmatched. It's fine.
Yeah, so
oh, that's so sad.
Saddle of the Cavalier, and the best bit is it doesn't require attunement. You can just put it on all in all. Good to go. G to G.
Amazing. That's so good.
Yeah, they are your gifts. Please enjoy, as it is because you didn't get a chance to do some good old looting, and things worked out a little bit differently to how you might have been imagining in the council chambers. Your reward for saving Veluxor, the Dragonborn people, is some pretty epic fucking loot. They are incredibly grateful for their lives.
I think Jin's also going to sneak back to the end of the thing, pretend to be a guy and be like, hey, we should pay off their airship.
Just throw your voice. Just throw your voice to the back of the hall.
Make me a deception check. Make me a deception check. Make me a deception check.
Oh, that section of that crash heart.
14.
Can I give him +4 by dropping my shield so they can't quite tell where the noise is coming from?
Oh, you're using
not
your,
plus.
Plus an inspiration.
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
That's
go on.
impressive, yeah.
Yeah, go on. Give him +4. 18. That's a bit better. You don't fool any of the elder dragons, obviously, but you do see people look around and be like, "Yeah, we can. How much does an airship cost? We could at least pay off an airship. It's not that expensive, right? Surely." Elia sort of like looks, has a big smile as she hears this, and looks back up and goes, "I mean, they wouldn't have been able to get here without their airship, an air of decency. They are at risk of losing access to that ship. If they lose that, they will lose the ability to be able to travel as quickly. And if we were ever to find ourselves in danger once more, having access to an airship would certainly allow the Tempest Guild to get here much, much quicker." Hindreth sort of looks a bit confused, goes, sorry, whatever gold you need to pay off this ship, please, the hoard is open. We can absolutely cover the cost of an airship. How much is such a thing? 2,000 gold? 10,000 gold?
Yes.
So last time I talked with
Yeah.
because I've been talking to Leosin a fair bit about the actual how much we owe. So how much do we owe, Owen?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me quickly check my notes. I believe last time we spoke,
I think
when
it was
you last
around
spoke to us,
10,000.
I was going to say it was around 10 to 12,000. Yeah,
I think we've paid off a
12,000.
significant chunk.
You've paid off most of it. It's only 12,000 left. Yeah.
I think about 12,000.
Duvnin sort of snickers as he transforms back to this large blue dragon form. A measly sum. Of course, such a thing could be covered by the draconic coffers.
I wish I had said 15,000.
Yeah, Elia looks at you and be like, "You really should have haggled upwards. That was a bad call." Thank you, great ones. I applaud your decision to step down and allow the city to govern itself. I imagine there will be elections held at some point in the future for the representatives from the Dragonborn. Yes, we have heard of these elections. Other countries seem to love so much. We shall try this democracy, see how it functions. See Akani just like, yes, like high-fiving himself in the background. And as he sort of hears that, he sort of rushes over to you guys, gives you a big hug, like literally grabs you all into a massive hug. I'm so pleased to see that you guys are okay. Even you, Dishonored One, it is good to see you again.
I mind illusion Shenron's face and go, "It's okay. You can call me Honored One. You don't have to."
No,
be
I
coy."
think I'll stick to Dishonored One. That is who you are. Thank you, all of you. Without you, I'm not sure what would have happened. The Equalists and I were able to free the Elder Dragons, but they were still dying, whatever that poison was. And then Iendrith sacrificed herself, did some weird magic I've never seen before that allowed her to take all of the effects into herself. Brutal. She like melted. You see Elia just like go pale and turn and start walking away. Akani looks and goes like, "Oh shit, that's not... Fuck." Can you tell her I'm really sorry? I might have to work with Elia. She's like the only dragon I actually respect.
We're coming back from that.
Yeah, that's...
You're screwed, my friend.
Yeah.
That's good.
I know, I've got
You
a
might
friend
need
who
your
can
identity.
cast Modify Memory. I'm going to see if he's like... see what he's up to right now.
I mean,
Maybe just modify your image, change your name, change what you look like, where you live.
Oh, this is sounding a bit dishonorable.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Just- yeah. Oh, God. Look, thank you again.
I thought I was bad at peopling, but that was terrible.
Yeah. Didn't think that through. Thank you again. Seriously, if you ever need anything, you know how to find me. Just wait for a violent coup to start and I'll be there somewhere in the background handing out flyers.
Once all the main battle's done.
Denouncing the violence, absolutely, yes.
Well, when you feel like a bit more violence in the name of a good cause, yeah, and she'll give you a business card.
Ooh. Kani takes it and looks and goes, "You thinking about facing some sort of tyrant sometime?"
We always face tyrants. They're usually within ourselves.
Because you were talking about
Also-
going up against
Also the
Tiamat,
cult.
the goddess of tyranny.
Yep, pretty much the cult and Tiamat, yep.
Yeah. She and I
Big
have some
ones.
unfinished business after her cultists completely gutted my Equalist movement. Yeah. Let me know when you're going up against Tiamat. I've never faced a god before, but I imagine I'll need a lot of pamphlets.
Bring all your friends.
Yeah.
Pamphlets is not
Should be a
something
good
that I
time. Be fun.
Okay. I'll try and be there.
think. Spread the word.
Yep. Great. I've lived long
You
enough.
should gotta fly like down with Tiamat or something, or we don't like Tiamat, we don't want to hear, and I don't know, stuff like that. Get a
Yeah.
movement going.
At
What they
least
say.
tell them the truth about Tiamat.
Yes, I can do that. Definitely. Truth is something I stand for above all others. And freedom.
Also, you
and equality.
give her a catchy and insulting name like Tia Crap.
Tia Crap. That's good.
Oof.
I was going to say
Oh,
Tia
you're
Doormat,
not
but
through
Tia Crap's good.
Lockie.
Or like Tia Mat, more like Tia Not. Nah, Tia Crap's better.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Gotta work
Like-
on that one.
Tea and biscuits. Just to make it sound really lame.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I'll stick
Because
to
people
Tia.
like tea and biscuits.
Tia Crap's good. Tia Crap's good. Thank you. I'm stealing that and using it as my own. Thanks, guys. Bye. As Akani walks back and you hear him go, "Oh, I've just thought of the best name for Tiamat. Tia Crap." It's like one of the guards. The guard's like, Who are you?
Also, I did a sleight of hand check and I place a kick me sign on his back as he walks away.
sleight of hand 24. Yeah, you succeed.
It's because he caught me on one.
Pretty good.
Good prank, bro.
Thanks.
As he walks off, Elliot sort of comes back over and goes,
Prank.
"Right, I've had enough of politics for one day. Should we go check out Fafnir's Horde?"
Yes. Let's.
Great. Let's get out of here. Come. Heads back outside. Back into dragon mode. You guys all climb on board. Except Yervith. You've got a brand new saddle. Eleanor's
Oh.
there.
Oh.
I can't fly her yet, though.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, it says in the ranger thing it's like 15 or 16 or something, I think.
Yeah, I don't fly until 15. Level 15.
15. Hmm.
Okay. Sorry, buddy. That sucks.
How many
It's okay.
levels of
You
rogue
can still ride it on the ground, though.
I have
Oh
four
no,
levels.
you can.
Yeah,
I
you
have
can
4
ride
levels
it.
of rogue, so...
Really? You only need 2, really?
You can go on the. You
Yeah.
can go on the. You can ride her on the on the ground though, right?
Yeah, you can ride it
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah,
that's
right
good.
on the
That's
ground.
good.
It's
You can't
still
fly.
it's still an amazing magic item. It's just even
Oh,
better
that's
when you
so
can
good.
fly. Like when
yeah.
you can fly, it becomes
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
Mm.
Because he
Yeah.
can do like flybys because they've got disadvantage to attack Eleanor, so he can do like a flyby style attack and
Oh,
just stay
that's amazing.
ranged. Yeah.
I mean, Yervith is feeling...
Fly.
Yervith is definitely feeling less and less rogue these days, so...
More and more ranger.
Mm.
Well, what more ranger? Yeah,
A lot more ranger.
what more ranger.
So,
Fantastic.
so yeah,
Yes.
now you've got the saddle, and your
Yes.
dragon's getting so big.
Amazing.
What?
Stretch her to the chin a bit.
Yeah, she-
Are you going to be, trying to find more of, like, I mean, even the dragons believe there may be more people like you. Are you going to try and
mean-
find them?
I hadn't really thought of that, but
I mean,
Yeah,
as the first, you would have probably some experience you could share.
I mean, I believe when all this business is done with Tiamat, I think I might. Yes, I might go out and see if I can find others. I mean, the dragons have only mentioned that they're looking in the immediate area, but this could be across the whole world. There could be many others out there that they don't know about. I don't know what I was looking for, but yeah, I think maybe I could try and find them. This is a new age. This is a new time for us and for dragonkind. So I believe if we can find the Dragon Warden and train them properly, then yes, I believe the world will be safer for them.
That would be a very noble cause for you to put yourself towards.
Indeed.
Some
There's
context.
still much to be done.
Well,
Yes.
if I survive through this, I will do everything I can to help you, I think.
Thank you, Lockie.
I'll put it on the list of my inventions.
I'm sure that's getting quite a long list.
Oh, yes.
The Drake Wardens of old, Yervith.
Elia's voice sort of you all feel in your minds as she's flying.
The Drake Wardens of old Yervith were sort of a combination of police, guard, and ranger. They would travel around on the backs of their mounts, righting wrongs, meting out justice where they found it. This was when the world was young. It was a frontier world, a giant world. The dragons first came, elves and dwarves as well. But the dragon riders kept the peace, Drake Wardens. Perhaps there is room for such a group once more. I understand the Adventurers Guild and the League of Adventurers take jobs and requests and quests and things like that, but to have people going around and making sure that the laws are kept, that the peace is upheld. I think the world was lessened by the loss of the Drake Wardens.
There's some sort of poetic irony in, well, in my memory, being on the other end of the law to survive, to somehow be the authority. That's quite a novel idea.
I think a very important one. Understanding what it's like to be on the receiving end of so-called justice perhaps will give you some perspective for what real justice might look like.
That's very true. You've given me much to think about, Elia.
Good. Well, at least I'm succeeding in my job as a politician then. Philosopher. Some words of warning with Fafnir. Speak little. Try not to touch too much. And try not to look at his eye. You'll understand more when we get there.
Okay. Thank you for the warning.
Indeed.
Isn't that counter to normal talking etiquette? Aren't you supposed to look people in the eye?
Yes, that's why I'm deliberately pointing out, Lockie, that you shouldn't do that with Fafnir. Otherwise, I wouldn't have felt the need to report on it.
Right. Well, I think I'll find that easy.
You've given me much to think about. I
I
have
don't
many
like people in the eye at the best of times, but sure.
mucho data to process. With that, LA begins banking and dropping down below. You can see you're still inside the inner city, but towards the outer edge of the western bank. And as she comes up and lands, a massive manor stands over the brink of a large chasm in the city, probably what was once a section of the old city that's caved in. And as you look down into this chasm, as Elia sort of begins dropping down towards it, you can see layers and layers of vault doors set into the cliff face. These large metal vault doors, locked and guarded by numerous Dragonborn guards and strange floating eyes set in a fog of this purple mist hovering outside each of the doors. As she dives deeper into the canyon, at the very bottom, wrapped around what looks to be some sort of large thermal vent, is an enormous red dragon. As it raises its head blearily, you can see that one side of its face has been clawed completely off. Large scars reach down the side, and where its eye once was is now a gaping wound, in the center of which is set a large golden ruby set in stone in the shape of a dragon's eye. And you watch, as you guys land, the eye begins looking at you, picking out and focusing on each of you in moments, before rolling back and moving along with his other eye. Elia lands, transforming back into her silver draconic dragonborn form. Gives a polite nod. Fafnir, thank you for having us. Mad Eye Faffy, amazing. Thank you for having us. Yeah. We are looking forward to investigating the archives that were broken into by the thieves. I've brought some experts in tracking, in archiving, and more importantly, in retrieval of items that have been stolen. I'd like to introduce you to the Tempest Adventuring Guild. Fafnir raises his head and sniffs the air, the eye sort of focusing on Lyra first. Oh, sorry, on Shana first. Magical creature.
some form of strange transformative magic, offshoot of the flesh-molding spell, Yuan-Ti in nature, carrying items of value. Sense 3 items of magical artifact. Warforged. No. Giant forged.
Whoa.
Carrying 5 items of magical significance, 4 of which have been infused by himself.
Oh, yes.
Dragonborn.
Quite proud of this one.
As you tap your helm. Yeah.
Dragonborn. Crossbreed. Archive denotes importance for ritual summoning. Carrying 3 items of magical significance, one of which is the Amulet of Elements Avazandum. I have searched for such an artifact for many, many years. When you die, if you could bequeath it to the Horde, that would be most appreciated.
As long as you don't spread that around.
I will send Collecting Eye to pick up upon the moment of your demise.
Oh, shit.
Oh. Holy shit.
Changeling.
I wave at him.
Carrying 3 items of magical significance. Shadow is infused with some artifact. Sword. Shadowfell.
Ooh,
And then
don't
he
forget this. And I
snarls.
just
Oh yeah?
pull my chest open and reveal my cool tattoo.
Still detecting 3 items of magical significance. Skin markings of magical insignificance.
I can move this around my body. Ah.
Elliot nudges you. Not too much talking, remember, Jin.
I
Wood
offer him
elf.
10 pastries.
Drake Warden. Sensing several items of magical significance. Bow, saddle, cloak is especially interesting. Modified chameleon cloak. Creator unknown. Unrecognizable. Wood Elf will state where he acquired such an item. I would like to add it to my hoard upon the moment of his demise.
I pilfered it off a nobleman many years ago, back when I was living on the streets.
Elaborate. Noble's name, family, significant details for identification required.
Fuck.
No, Yervith can be like, I don't know, just some dude with a fancy cloak. I killed him and took his shit. What do you want from me?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yervith kind of goes, I couldn't tell you that. He was a mark, probably belonging to one of the old noble families of Oxenford, but my memory escapes me. Sorry, it's a bit hazy these days.
Permission to acquire cloak upon your demise. Acquisition Eye will be sent to acquire once you die, if permission is granted.
Do I have to make a decision right now?
No.
Leave it with me, Fafnir.
Item will remain with Wood Elf Yervith Drakewarden. Archive log 66971. Reminder for 50 years to acquire. Send. The eye flashes with a sudden mote of brilliance, and then he looks up at each of you, turning his face so his good eye can see you. Well, the thieves broke in through the main vault, using some sort of artifact to blind me, prevent me from moving. Bound and unable to react, I was helpless to watch as they broke into my hoard. They ordered me to forget what I swore. Artifact was some sort of mask carved in the likeness of a draconic face. Most likely dragon mask of Tiamat. Item should be acquired and destroyed. It is an abomination. Commanding dragons.
Shani, you raised a hand. Absolutely.
What color was the dragon mask that was stolen from you?
Blue.
Sorry, let me rephrase.
Item was not stolen from me. Item was used to steal from me. Mask commanded my silence, my stillness, and then my memory to be erased of the events.
But then the mask was removed from your hoard, yes?
No, they came with the mask and removed something else from my hoard.
My apologies. I misunderstood.
Not required.
Point of question.
Query recognized.
Lockie will lean over to Lara.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Shana, sorry. I like this one. Is there a special method required to destroy the masks?
Answer unknown. Do not mind creaky vault doors. Still searching. Still searching for items removed in upper layers as well. No. Answer not known. Items were created by Tiamat. However, scent indicates you were responsible for the destruction of Drakhorn. Whatever method was used for that would suffice for masks as well.
Good to know.
Problem.
No problem.
Good. Investigate lower archive sub 726B. Locate what has been taken. Inform me. We will talk about your commission for reacquiring item. I have a personal archive of items not required to be in my possession that I could disseminate to you as reward.
Ooh.
Knowledge as well. You might wish to know about Avazandum, amulet of the elements you carry around your neck, and the curse that comes with it.
Elia looks and goes, I'm sorry, what? Are you really going to hold that sort of thing over our heads until we get you results?
Affirmative.
Seriously? Fafnir, come on. We will help you, obviously, but you need to tell us now if Mira's life is in danger.
Mira's life is not in danger. Those near her, however.
Elia looks at you, Mira, at Fafnir, at you, Mira. Ignore him. He's trying to bait us. Don't listen to what he says.
I need to know, Amelia.
Can I? Oh man, Yervith would really want to be. He knows he shouldn't be inside checking this
You
dragon.
can inside check. Of course you can.
I think he wants to though.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah,
Inside checks for.
Fuck yeah.
24.
Yeah, 24 is pretty good.
You don't get the sense Fafnir's told a lie yet.
Wow. All right.
Can Shana raise her hand again?
Yeah. Of course you can.
And just back to Fafnir. She's like, are you sure this information would not be beneficial to reacquiring the item that was removed from your hoard? I mean, should the item that Mira has around her neck cause harm to the party, her ability to retrieve your item might be hampered.
Ooh.
Ooh, maybe a persuasion check.
Yes, business snick.
That was good. That was good. That was good business snacking.
That was good business snacking.
That's good business snack.
Yeah, nice.
18.
I was like, business snack is sad because since I changed my race, I've somehow lost half of my stat rolls and step of bars. I've totally done it wrong.
Compromise. Locate which item was taken, and I will tell you part of the curse. Information pertinent to preventing its activation. Agreeable?
Appreciated.
Enter.
And with a claw, he reaches around, touches very gently the surface of one of these identical vaults, and you watch as the door slowly swings open, revealing a series of stone steps leading down into this large cube of metal. Elia nods and begins walking towards the portal, heading down and stepping into this, her feet sort of clanking on the metal as she steps down, claws making this scratching noise. As you enter... Oh, yeah?
Oh, I was just going to say, what was his name? The red
Fafnir.
dragon?
Fafnir. Fafnir.
Cool.
Fafnir. I can see chat has said Fafnir is masterly baiting the party. Yep. Agreed. And like the little fish looking at the dangling worm, they went, ooh, whoa. Oh.
Yeah.
For podcast listeners, I used my finger into a hook, grabbed it into my cheek, and pulled myself screen left. As you guys begin walking down, gotta help out the podcast listeners. As you guys begin walking down the metal steps into the large metal cube, you can see this cube is 120 feet long, 120 feet wide, 120 feet tall. Rows and rows of scrolls locked inside of what look to be glass cases line at every single 4-meter junction, providing this quite eerie sense of being in a very modern, futuristic-looking library, or maybe some sort of like... I mean, the closest approximation I can think of is the Vatican archives, really, where it's automatically controlled and richest institution on the planet, by the way. Just enjoy that information. As you guys begin sort of walking down, above you can see silver crystals, almost like quartz, but tipped with this metallic sheen embedded into the ceiling of the metal, providing this strange glow. This eerie white fluorescent light that seem to permeate every part of this cube. As you enter, the door slams shut behind you.
Whoa,
Elliot sort of turns, looks back and goes, oh, that fucking paranoid piece of shit. Okay. Right. See if you can locate a scroll that is missing.
Yervith's going to put his hand up real quick and just be like, let me see if I can find any tracks. You said that there was a break-in. Perhaps I can discern who or what it was by its footprints. Just give me a moment before we step forward anymore.
But before we split up and go our own ways, I want you to... we seem to be in a very important archive, so I will say, before you touch the scrolls, maybe a prestidigitation on our hands. Make sure we haven't brought in anything.
Oh.
Prestidigitation on
Looks
hands.
good to me.
Good touch. Yervith, natural 1 for a total of 12. You look at the ground, so you're like ready to look at the dirt. It's made of metal. That's okay. Maybe they like tracked some mud in or some like things when they broke the door. No, it's been cleaned. Oh, it's been cleaned. As you're looking around, you're like, clearly this has been, recently cleaned. You can see no evidence of tracks. You've got no idea. That's a really good idea, though.
Sad. Yeah, a little bit sad. I'm like, oh.
Elia sort of nods, goes, what Lockie said about the scrolls. Don't open the cases. Don't open the cases. Trust me on that one. Call me over, and I will have a look, and we will determine whether or not we need to open them. Actually, Lockie, you're probably the only one who can touch the scrolls without issue. Maybe it's best if we call you and I over. If anyone finds anything odd, call Lockie and I both over. We'll come and investigate. Please enjoy Fafnir's archive. I would like everyone to roll me investigation checks or perception checks if you are looking through to see if you can locate information. Yervith, I'm guessing you're going to take perception?
100%.
Yeah.
Just quickly, we're because I went and got water real quick.
Yep.
We're here investigating because someone stole something.
He thinks someone stole something. Yeah.
Scroll's missing.
Now I know that this place is going to be filled with magic.
Yes.
And I don't know how this, but to investigate, I'm gonna use a ritual because I actually discarded Fairy Fire because I have other uses like that will use concentration, and I'm taking Detect Magic, so I'm gonna do a ritual cast for that.
Oh yeah.
I know that there's like heaps of magic items, and it's gonna be really hard to decipher through it, but I'm basically looking for any potential magic that's been cast. You know, any signs of any robbery
absolutely.
or burglary. Yep.
You take 10 minutes. Go for it. Shana has a harebrained thought that... read that out loud, Shana. Say that out loud. That's brilliant.
Shana's got a bit of a harebrained thought that, like, just the way that he's sort of like, oh, yes, something's stolen, but I don't know what. Shana's sort of thinking, wait, what if they've placed some sort of magical device in the room that'll either grant them access, let them scry, some sort of addition to this trove that could negatively, you know.
Wow.
Just, you know, she's thinking outside the box. She's like, if I was in their place, what would I do? She's like, oh, that's exactly what I'd do, you know. They'd be looking for something to be stolen. They wouldn't be looking for something that has been added.
I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
It's
Shana,
nice.
please roll your investigation with advantage.
I've rolled once. It was a 19. I'll
roll
roll
already?
again. Flashy, flashy.
Overall, we've got some pretty good rolls. 22 for Yervith.
Pretty much even.
Shana 19, Mira 16, Lockie 15, Jin
19,
25.
so I did Flash.
Oh, Flash of Genius 19. Alrighty, yeah. So we'll do. Let's do Lockie first, actually. So Lockie, yeah, as you begin heading down the rows and rows, initially the scrolls all look to be in some very ancient form of Draconic. You can kind of make out the gist of what it says, but it's slow going. However, as you reach sort of about halfway down your row, you see a scroll immediately catches your eye on a lower shelf in the bottom right-hand corner, written in giant runes.
Whoa.
Lockie's like just walking, like nope. Yes. Slowly leans down and looks. Lockie, yeah, written in giant runes. You can see an account of a flying castle known as Skyreach. Flying castle that you were found on, that had been your home for many, many, many years.
Hello there.
Wow.
References to the mistress of the castle, cloud giant, daughter of the daughter of an important cloud giant. Not sure about the name though. It seems to be partly missing. The scroll is damaged and partly waterlogged. But yeah, referring to the mistress of the castle, daughter of an important cloud giant. Hecaton, tech something. Symbols look the same. Oh wow, that activated
Sorry, I don't know the-
Oh my god, sorry guys, that activated Cortana. That's hilarious. But actually saying her name did not. So what's up with that, Microsoft? Come on. Yeah, Lockie, something interesting here. And as you look through, it talks about how the castle had been spotted moving around the ancient portal network, seemingly trying to activate the portals. And then it talks about stone giants helping to reactivate the portals. You realize this is talking about the time of the giants. This is so long ago. This account must have been written when the dragons first arrived here. It's fascinating. Mira, investigation of 16. Yeah,
Not bad Mira, but
you begin looking through, seeing these old scrolls. Nothing really jumps out at you immediately. For a moment, as you're walking past one, you think you see the words move on the page for a second. Rush back and have a quick look. Look very closely. The words stay the same. Turn and walk away. And then something at the back of your mind makes you think like something's up here. So you look back again. The words are slightly different. Previously, the meaning had been clearly, it was some historical document talking about the assassination of some important elven gentleman who'd been working on a treaty with the dragons, but now it talks about his accidental death.
I think I found something. Jin, Lockie, I think you two might have more luck with this than me. I just noticed something.
Jin is currently sitting there muttering under his breath, casting Detect Magic for 10 minutes.
I just kind of slide this, into the ritual circle.
Nah, it's alright. He'll be able to see everywhere. Oh, so you, try and pick up the case?
Yeah, I'll try and pick it up.
Your hands go straight through it.
Oh! I found something!
Yervith, we're going to jump to you for a second.
Okay.
What was your investigation? A perception of 22. Yervith, there's something wrong here. These cases, there's something off about all of them. The light doesn't seem right. There's no reflection on the glass cases from the lights above. And as you move, it doesn't move as well. You get really close to one. And you think for a second you can see a flicker through it. And as you move your finger forward to touch it, your finger passes straight through the scroll case. And you realize you're looking at an illusion.
That's weird.
Shana, as you're looking, you find a case which doesn't quite match all the others. There's something just off about it. With your investigation of 19, the brushed metal looks a bit too new, too fresh. And as you reach down and pick it up and touch it, for a second, all of the other cases around flicker for just a moment. Jin, as this happens, your spell finishes. You detect a strong source of illusionary magic coming from Shana. Or whatever she's holding.
Illusionary snake.
Shana's real. What she's holding is creating a huge amount of illusionary magic. And as you activate this, you can see illusionary magic covering every single shelf in here.
Wow.
There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of illusionary magic in this vicinity. Literally,
You would know.
I think, am I looking? So all the bookcases, are they all?
Mira's
illusions? Like all
of them.
the stuff in
Yeah,
them?
Mira's just putting her hands through all of them. Elia steps back over,
everything.
like with her head in her hands, and goes, "How can we not see this with true sight? We should be able to see through this. These look real to me. But when I go to touch them," and you watch as she touches it, she makes physical contact with the outside of it, but then looks at you guys putting your hands through it.
This
There
is
is-
the cult.
There is something very weird about this spell.
This must have been put on by the cult.
Shana, on the underside of the case, you can see an intricate runic circle. Strange glyphs covering every surface of it. And in the very center, a small gemstone, an emerald set, shining ever so slightly with this green glow. Say it out loud, Yervith.
Yeah.
I was just imagining she turns the chest over and it just says like property of the children of Tiamat. Just emblazoned on the bottom of it. Oh, okay.
Made in the Nine
I was not
Hells.
expecting
Yeah.
deal or no deal.
Yeah.
We've had a question from chat. Can you use points to award magic items? Sadly, not yet, because I wouldn't be able to control such a system. As in, like, it would be very hard to police such a thing. Plus, these guys did just get given fucking awesome magic items.
Yeah, if you could just gift me a Vorpal sword, that'd be pretty cool.
A Vorpal sword. Okay.
Yeah.
Vorpal swords for all.
Vorpal swords
swords
for
for
all.
all.
And adamantine armor. Adamantine armor and Vorpal swords for everybody.
Yay.
Mithril plus 4 armor. Don't add that to your inventory.
Oh.
A common certain amount. Yeah, look, I'll tell you what, I'll add a thing for channel points to award uncommon items as a magic, to spawn uncommon magic items in the world near where the party are. How about that? I can do that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I can do that.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Good suggestion, Bruno
I would
Besax.
put that pretty heavy. You don't want people just chucking out like magic items for us all the time. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it's great, and I would love that, but
it does break. It does break games.
Yeah, it would be pretty OP. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
I
hello
will.
there, Vorpal sword. No, I know it's I know it's not uncommon, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will find a way to implement that. It's a good suggestion. It's hilarious. One of those looks like a little GIF of my face. It's fantastic. Just seeing one of the.
can we
One of the
summon them
emotes.
on the enemies? No, that's interesting.
When we summon them on the enemies, common will be funny. Yeah, I'll add a thing in to allow for creation of magic items or uncommon magic items. No, you can't summon magic items on enemies, but you can summon monsters. And if you choose a lower level monster and want to beef it up a bit, you can tell me what magic item you want them to have. That's fine too, and I'll think about it. Alrighty, what about a monster? You can summon monsters. That already exists.
I believe Teller's already done it before.
Yeah, you've done it before, Teller. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Teller? Elia sort of steps over.
Also,
Yes.
oh, sorry, just
No.
really quickly.
Go.
Now that Tel's popped up, I just realized 15-month subscriber. Just
Yeah.
Teller,
that out there.
massive
Yeah.
thank you. That's a really good point.
Huge.
Thank you so much.
I know.
Cat with a Vorpal sword. It's still got to be able to wield it. Like the cat, like is trying to like carry this Vorpal sword in its mouth. It'd be very heavy for a cat.
Yeah.
Are you? What are you asking about? I don't know. Do we know what Teller's question is? Like, can we summon magic weapons with monsters? Yes.
So she's being sarcastic.
bet the monster.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's hard. Do you know what? I'll be honest. It is
I
hard to
gotcha.
get sarcasm from written words. I apologize.
Oh yeah.
A ring of attunement
that's
gives
fair.
the player an additional attunement slot. Requires attunement to use. That's a good troll. I like that. That's fun.
That's cool.
That's a good troll item. It's like, oh, here you go. It's a ring of attunement. Oh, great. What does it let you do? Gives you an additional attunement. Oh, amazing. Yeah, you have to attune it though. Ah, amazing. Okay, great. I have an extra ring now that does nothing. Elia sort of looks at this magic basically there's magic circle on the back of this like section of metal. Just puts her head in her hands and goes, "It's going to be everything, isn't it? They've taken everything. It's going to be everything in his hoard."
Hey, wait, now
Well, they didn't take this, but
I think Lockie, that's the item that's creating the illusion, and I think if we damage that, it will remove the illusion.
So with
Oh,
my
yeah,
high
thanks.
perception. Oh, sorry.
no, it's fine. I was just having a realization. What were you saying, Jin?
Oh no, I was just gonna say out of game to Owen. With my 25 perception and detect magic, can I locate where they might have actually come from, like any entry points?
There's no other sources of magic in this room. As you look around with detect magic, the only source of entry and exit that you can see is the door, the vault door. And as you remember back to what Fafnir said about the mask being used to compel him to act in a certain way and then forget, you suspect that the easiest way to gain entry was just force him to open the door.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're saying that they've taken the items here and then they've just replaced them with illusionary magic? Is that what we're saying here?
Sounds like it.
That's why no one's mentioned it yet.
That's why he hasn't even seen it yet.
Oh,
How do we...
And they obviously did it.
Fafnir?
They obviously did it in a way that would avoid the true sight. They've
Lockie,
thought of everything.
have you seen an object like this before? Anyone?
Have I? I mean, it's a scroll with giant runes on. I've seen giant before. I haven't seen the scroll before. As far as that bag with the runes on the bottom of it, that's. I don't believe I recognize them. Do I recognize them?
As you look, Lockie, it's standard arcanic runes. This
right.
is some sort of very intricate, complex spell. To be able to figure out exactly what's going on here, you'd need to take a fair bit of time to study this and to learn it. It's an incredibly complex spell, but it looks to be some modified version. You can see elements of a silent image built in here, as well as a non-detection spell. There's elements of seeming as well. This is a very complex spell. Whoever did this took time to do this. Time, effort, and a great deal of knowledge. You, looking at this, you suspect this wasn't the work of one person. This looks like many wizards were involved in the creation of this.
Is this sort of similar to, like, I guess this is completely, like not unrelated, but almost like, you know how the Yuan-Ti Queen had that sort of runic symbol that did that certain ability back when we were in the jungle? Is it similar?
Not dissimilar. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Some sort of, like, developed magic or modified magic, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, so this is, you've seen runic magic a few times now. Runic magic is it's a version of what the giants used to use with their magic. Giant magic was all based on runes. This is an arcanic version of rune magic, but it allows you to blend together the effects of certain spells. Only very accomplished wizards working together, wizards and witches working together, can create these items. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of experimentation to get this right.
Yeah, right.
You know, I wonder if that's the answer to the question, because we never really did find out what the cult wanted with the one team. Maybe this is what they were trying to get them to do. And then after they were done with them, they didn't need them anymore, so they...
Maybe.
You also would remember, Lockie, that the cult wanted access to Daedalus as well.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Yep.
Our old
Maybe we
friend.
should go back and ask Daedalus.
Maybe we.
That's an awful idea.
Nothing bad has happened from it, I think.
Nothing bad has happened from what, sorry?
I'm talking to Daedalus. Well, not yet, I think.
Why would you want to talk to Daedalus?
You're aware of.
Hey, what?
You just
You
said
just said it was a good idea.
Just a good idea.
No, I didn't.
Maybe you're malfunctioning, Lockie.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
You're malfunctioning, yeah.
Oh!
Elia just like looks over and goes, "Oh God, we're gonna have to tell Fafnir that they've taken everything."
Except the scroll.
Well,
Right,
maybe
that's-
Fafnir will know what this is. He has that eye, right? He can figure out what it might be.
I really don't want to be the one to tell him that everything he owns has been taken.
I vote Lockie tells him.
I vote Mira tells him.
I'm not telling him.
You're the politician. You know your words.
Oh, I guess I could tell him.
Oh, Jin's going to be the morsel. Wonderful.
Yes,
Jin.
why not? I have 80 pastries I can offer him as well. I'm sure that will help in some way.
Yes, we can replenish his hoard with pastries.
I'm sure the thousands of years and absolute and untold wealth of his collection.
Well, I think
There is
it would...
another option.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We run.
We put that item back on the shelf. We know that everything's been taken. We know that they have probably taken it to use in the ritual. I mean, he had the greatest concentration of items of power, artifacts of worth and value. Most likely the cult have it to perform their ritual. If we can locate the ritual circle and stop them casting the spell, then we have recovered his hoard, and we can bring it back and replace it without him ever realizing that everything was taken. Or, when I say without ever realizing, he only realizes when we give everything back to him.
Elia, don't you think he has a right to know?
I think he has a right to know, but I know him a bit better than you perhaps do, and I guarantee that we will be flying out of here on Dragonback, on my back, for our lives when he realizes.
I mean, it might just embolden him to help us in the fight. To get his
Maybe
possessions
we
back.
can leave a note.
Yeah, that's a good avoidance strategy. That's not bad.
I mean, he seems like a very logical fellow. I mean, he's not going to shoot the messenger. Hopefully.
Okay, Lockie, you can tell him then. Great, fantastic.
Yes, I vote Lockie tell
The
him.
problem is, Elliot.
I'm very diplomatic.
Elliot, if he finds out that if we leave it as is and don't tell him, and then he finds out that it's stolen, he may suspect us.
But how would he know that we knew? If he hasn't been able to figure it, trust me now, listen, if he has not figured out that everything's been taken, if he hasn't figured out this illusion, I don't think he's going to. That eye of his hasn't seen through it, because he would have been through here himself immediately. Whatever this is, this magic, he has the same blindness to it that I do. I don't think he's going to find out. The only reason we found out was because it wasn't designed to deal with all of you. He's not going to let more humans, elves, or changelings, or Yuan-Ti Nagas down here. Just saying.
The one thing that came to my mind is, should we still let, some of the major cities, like the major players, at least the ones we trust, know this, because the Horde now has a vast collection of very powerful items. Should we keep that knowledge to us, or should we reveal that to some of our compatriots moving forward, knowing that they have this large amount of items?
I think we can let people know that they've acquired a vast amount of items of great value. We just don't have to tell them where it came from.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's 2 lies.
And he really found out.
I'm a politician, Lockie. Sometimes you have to tell us.
Well, that politicians mostly lie, from my experience, actually.
Would Fafnir be a good ally, though? Would he be able to
Maybe. He's not...
track them? If he's got this encyclopedic knowledge, that's almost as good as having someone on the inside of the cult who knows what they know.
Perhaps
Fafnir's
his
only...
affinity for the items themselves who can track.
Maybe
Yes.
the real Horde is in his mind.
You can try and pitch that.
I don't think I shall.
It's up to you. I will go with what you suggest. I just wanted to make sure you knew there were other options.
So what are people thinking?
Personally,
I mean, we can...
Sorry, you go.
So go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just going to say, I mean, one option is either Mira or I attunes to the parapet of wound closure over 24 hours, and then we tell him, and if he decides to kill us, then at least we won't die.
That's one way of looking at it. I mean, as far as tell him or not, he is an intelligent fellow, and he requires the datum. So he needs true data, not false.
Elliot, what would he do if he found out past getting angry and potentially roasting us alive, what would his actions be post that? Would he just fly off in search of the items and be this indiscriminate killing force? Like, I have no idea how he would react.
Neither do I. I imagine he would try and track down the thieves through any means necessary. And I don't think he would differentiate between humans who did steal from him, humans who were near, humans who he thinks stole from him, elves who happen to be nearby, dwarves, trees.
So he'd be a liability, is what you're saying.
Yes, he would be chaos. That is my fear.
Do you feel like that chaotic energy could eventually turn him to their cause? Like, not like through him willingly doing it, but being in a weak state of mind, he would be taken advantage of and become a pawn for them.
Think about it this way. Why did the cult erase his memory of the event? They want him to discover this later. They don't want him to know now. They want him to discover this later and sow chaos. For all we know, this spell might fail at some point soon, and he will realize then that everything has been taken.
Well, in that case...
Maybe we should tell him now.
Well, yeah, because he may find out later.
What they don't want.
And he may blame us, like I mentioned.
Maybe.
And also, if the cult doesn't want a thing to happen, I'm kind of in favor of it happening.
Yeah, as I say that out loud, I'm now thinking through, maybe we do tell him.
What about we tell him in the presence of the other elder dragons?
Fafnir.
If they vouch for us
to the elder dragons, I don't think he won't take any of that on board. He cares for only one thing.
It would be really nice having them there, though, because they're 3 ancient dragons.
Maybe we just try and break it gently. We start off by saying we know what was taken. We will seek to recover all the items that are missing. It's more items than he thought. And we just introduce him one step at a time till we get him there.
Okay, contingency plans. I can cast Dimension Door.
So can I.
Mira, you can. That's at least 4 people that can be teleported.
I can teleport somebody very easily.
You can teleport
Not
somebody?
myself, though.
I can climb out of the chasm.
Okay, so I can teleport someone that's not myself, so I could teleport Yervith.
That would be good.
So you teleport Yervith, then I can teleport... Oh, yeah, exactly.
Shana, and I'll fly. That's everyone. Okay, let's do this. She walks up and raps on the edge of the vault door a few times.
Who's actually gonna... Just before we knock on the door, is Alia the one to break it, like, predominantly?
I think we should all, as a team, gradually walk him through the process step by step so that we are a united front. We're all working together on this. Make sure he feels that we have got this under control.
Okay.
We are going to solve this problem.
Before someone says something that is going to be big, give me a nod. Actually, you know what's easier? I'm going to give everybody Bardic Inspiration. I'm going to blow all 5 of my charges.
Amazing.
Nice.
Probably a good time to do it.
Nice.
Yeah. Everyone gets a Bardic.
I think that's a good idea. So 10 minutes, 1d8 to any ability check that they need.
That's very good.
So I sort of bring everyone in a huddle. Okay, team, we can do this. We've got this. We are. What are we? We're the Tempest Guild, aren't we? Yes.
Okay, team, we can do it. Pave the way. Put your back into it. Convince a dragon all of his horde isn't missing right now on board. All right, so let's do it.
That was me singing it in.
I take that.
I take credit.
That's fine. That's fine.
Zuckerberg and Gates and Buffett.
No, I'm gonna sing. I do love Inside My Baby, obviously.
Okay, so just blow all. So everyone has bargaining. I think there's so Alia and 4 of you. I can't target myself.
Yep.
I was targeting myself way back when, and I realized with talking to Matt that I was doing that wrong. So I apologize, Owen.
Yep.
But we are past that, so I've realized that now. So Bardic Inspiration,
you take
everyone.
16 psychic damage for lying to me all those sessions.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
just trying to think as well if there's anything else. So, I'm gonna.
That's
cast...
pretty good. That many Bardic Inspirations, and that's awesome. Your Bardic Inspiration die is a D8.
It's really good.
That's not bad.
Oh yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. So,
cutting words in as he realizes.
No,
no, you stupid fuck. that could only go well.
Oh, I could actually chuck up I could chuck up a Liam and Sunny Hut if we mutter for a minute, and we all stay in it. And then if it really gets bad, we can all just run into it.
True.
I think our BAM thing probably will be Duke. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting there and walk into his place where he's at, start creating Liam's tiny hut, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's a good idea. I'm not going to cast
tiny
any.
hut is no obstacle for one such as I. Counterspell.
I might not do any other spells. If I do any other
Dispel
spells, it
magic.
might actually. If I do any other spells, it might tip him off. So let's go with the
Bardic
fight
Inspiration's good. Ellie's like there ready to knock, and as you do the Bardic Inspiration, she's like, thanks, Jen, I feel inspired. Knock.
Give her a thumbs up.
Fafnir, we're... And the door suddenly opens, she goes, we're ready.
You got this.
Be strong.
So,
Elliot, confidence.
we've investigated.
And the results of your investigation. What have you located or failed to locate? What is missing from the board?
So,
Out of game. Out of game.
so
I'll start with the good news. I've located this old scroll that is in Giant, and it is beautiful. It talks about my home.
I care not. What items are missing?
Look at Lockie.
Okay. Should I start with the whole? Because I can start listing things off.
So, yes. Continue.
why are you guys letting Lockie do this?
Lucky. This is it. So, Fafnir, there were some items taken.
As I suspected.
I think remember when you were telling us about, the cult sort of, there's a part of your memory that has been lost.
They coerced you.
Yes.
I think that while you were under that condition, there have been a fair few items that have went missing.
Indeed.
Yes,
And they were replaced with illusionary replicas.
yes,
which is
illusionary
why,
magic.
not
I
only-
should have been able to see through such deception.
We think the cult is using a specific magic that targets dragons.
Yeah, true sight. I think that the culprits designed their magic around being able to, bypass a dragon's abilities. Us, lower folk, far lower than you, they didn't
Stroke
account
that ego.
though.
Yeah.
They didn't account for us, which is fair because someone as mighty as you, if they can get something past you, then we're but a trifle to them. They wouldn't even think of us. But we have
Elaborate
unfortunately-
less.
So yes, items in here have been replaced by illusionary magic, and for all intents and purposes, probably stolen.
Indeed.
I look around. Anyone else?
How
Now
many items?
Now that we know,
number?
Oh, how many?
There goes. A number, yes, Fafnir, a number have been taken. It is a larger number than perhaps you were thinking, but we are going to be investigating and getting these items back. We have a vested interest in not allowing the Order of the Dragon to have these items for any length of time. We already think we have a lead on where they have taken them. We're going to be focused on that. Solution driven.
I know that you look at us and we are but mere folk to you, but we have come to this city and we have been praised by the elder dragons. We are a band that has been able to help the city, come back from its disaster. So we are hoping to help you.
I have
in
heard of your
your plight.
adequate reputations, why I allowed Elliot to bring you here.
So yes, we will get all the items that have been taken, and we will bring them back to your horde.
Excellent.
Yes.
To assist us in this manner, do you perhaps remember the appearance of the wizard that was wearing that blue mask that wiped your memory?
No.
If we have a description, it might be
last
easier to...
thing I remember is a figure humanoid in long purple and black robes, mask over his face, and the last word he said, still. After that, my memory is blank. There was more than one, though. I could see shadowy figures behind him, dressed in strange robes. Humanoid, I thought. Elves, humans, dwarves, to my smell.
As a sign of goodwill, I have decided to bequeath my cloak to you upon my death.
Oh. Excellent. A recovery eye will acquire it upon the moment of your demise. Logged and recorded.
Yeah. This recovering eye of which you speak, is there one bound to each item of your hoard?
No.
Or is it a single-time retrieval?
Single-time retrieval. It is generated by this. He reaches up and taps a long claw. His gemstone rusted eye. This is an item that allows me to summon servants, creatures to do my bidding, see great distances, pierce through the veil of the weave to discern what is.
Ooh.
Can it determine the location of anything? Or is it something
Not
that has to be
determine
currently
the
in front of
location.
you?
I have to have seen, recognized, and logged it for recovery and retrieval. I can log only a certain number of artifacts at any one time. 20 is the limit. Your cloak and the Avazandum, the Amulet of Elements, are items 14 and 15 on my list. I have an additional 5.
Do you need to see the item to log it in your eye, or can you
Yes,
know of the item?
I need to see it with the eye.
Okay. And does it have a memory such as yours for items that it has retrieved before? Would it be able to...
I can remember every item I've ever seen with the eye. However, I can only log items I am currently looking at for retrieval.
Okay. What about just for a simple scry? Would you be able to...
If I can remember an item, I should be able to scry it. Yes.
Hmm. I'm looking around at the others like, I think that we could.
I think we've nailed it too. By the way,
I could try scrying the blue dragon mask. I had tried this earlier, but was unsuccessful. Enough time has elapsed that I could attempt once more. Is that what you would like me to try and locate?
I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Is there a way we could help?
Or one other thought before you go and perform the magic, but is it perhaps the nature of the dragon mask that makes it more difficult to determine its location? Is there an alternative item of power that maybe the cult would be very interested in, that you're aware of, that maybe you could scry that item instead, assuming
there are
that
many
both
items of power within my hoard. There are many items of power within my hoard. I'm unsure which they would take.
I mean, I think you could just probably crapshoot and go for any of them, really.
Pick one.
Perhaps something small and insignificant that we know was taken from the scroll room. You mentioned a scroll depicting information on a giant ship. Such an item would be inconsequential to them, yet you spoke as if they had taken it. Is this the case?
Did they leave that one?
No, they left that one.
No, they did not leave that one. Everything's missing.
Oh, that's
it's
what
the
it is.
all
that
illusion.
Shana had.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was.
sorry.
Oh, I see.
They did not leave a single thing.
Yes, I mean, that would be insignificant and probably would have been thrown in with whatever else they took.
Indeed. I shall attempt scrying now. Just quickly
Look,
open up.
I would be honest. With the illusion magic, I would assume that nearly everything in your hoard is at least under suspicion of being taken. So treat everything. Yeah.
Elliot interrupts. Goes, anything could have been taken potentially and replaced with an illusion. Let's not go crazy, Jin.
We'll need a full inventory, you know?
Let's not jump to conclusions.
An inventory. And usually I'd put my hand up for that, but not. I'm busy.
I sort of mutter under breath. I was going back to that. I was going to loop it.
It's okay.
We got it.
We got this.
You've got this. You can do it.
I still muttering under a breath.
I shall cast Locate Object now to see if I can find where it has been taken. I just realized scrying only works for creatures, so he's going to have to do Locate Object.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to have to be Locate Object.
Yeah, it's creature replaced, isn't it?
As long as it's within 1,000 feet. Fafnir
Run into the damage.
closes his eyes, concentrates. This item is indeed missing. Can find no trace of it anywhere nearby. Fuck. It's a good call, though. It's a really good idea.
So we didn't see the person, so we can't scry
Is scrying on the blue wizard?
Yes, the wearer of the blue mask. I misspoke earlier when I said I tried scrying the mask. I tried wearing the man scrying the mask earlier. Yes.
Let us know why the spell may have not succeeded.
Unsure. I could attempt it again now. It doesn't always work. It is not a perfect spell. Sometimes the creature may be aware that someone is trying to observe it and can throw off the effect.
It's probably aware that someone's going to be after them sooner rather than later.
That's true.
Surely.
I will try once more.
You know, I usually like to do a sort of a quarter turn on the weave. I'm trying to give him the
a quarter turn on the weave.
The turn on the weave. I was going for a word and I forgot what it was. When something is has an infinite boundary, it's a mathematical thing. Fractal. Thank you. Quarter turn on the weave's fractal. Is what I meant.
Curious. I shall try. Concentrates, focuses.
It's +4.
+4.
+4. Thank you. That is brilliant, Lockie. I failed by 2. That means he succeeds by 2.
Yay.
I can observe this creature. It is some sort of man. Human, I believe. Large wizard's tower surrounded by various other wizards, mostly wearing red robes. Seems to be taking the blue mask off, handing it to these wizards. I believe I can hear what he's saying. Yes. He's talking about allowing these wizards to examine the mask. His master Severin has granted them access. Severin does not trust Tiamat entirely. Elia sort of nods at this and goes, interesting. That could be useful. Yes, he's asking the wizards to examine the mask. At a place called Zonthal's Tower.
Cool.
He just said he would return to the Shattered Isles in 3 days. I believe you have your location.
Whoa.
Well, that's convenient.
Okay. Well then.
Well, scribe.
So, one question I wanted to ask, Owen. When we were in there searching for the illusionary magic, and I cast Detect Magic, and then I talked to everyone, would that have been enough time when we went to...
You'd still have the magic active now, yeah.
Is there any magic still lingering on Fafnir about
Yes,
anything?
his eye is heavily magical. It's a combination of mostly divination magic, but whatever else is in there seems to be some sort of potentially conjuration magic as well, but mostly divination.
Okay, so I can only see the eye, but I can't see any other lingering
No.
like magic on him.
No other magical effects that are active on him right now.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It means he's not being influenced or
Yeah, that's
anything.
good.
And now I must eat you as commanded. Elia nods and goes, well, Fafnir, that was a great idea to take a full inventory. We will head to the Shattered Isles right now while you investigate the rest of your items. Maybe get some Dragonborn to help you, and maybe they could write it down and give it to you in a written list, and you could read it after they've left the room. Yes, I do not like
Much
to be
more convenient.
disturbed while I am reading. Yes, you don't want to be disturbed while you're reading, absolutely. We are going to head, we've got to head to meet with Bacchus and get these adventurers back to their airship so that we can make fast pace to locate your items and bring them back to you.
Get
Yes.
very far away.
Zonthal's Island. Zonthal's Tower, Shattered Isles. That is what the scrying revealed. Good fortune be upon you. And as
And you.
part of the bargain, curse. Every time you activate its effects and allow the elemental magic to flow, you introduce chaos into the weave. If you activate this effect enough times, your magic will be permanently made chaotic in nature. All elements will swirl around you as if one. You will have no control over the element of your magic. It shall be chaos incarnate, as you lose control of your magic. If you were to practice and regain control, you could freely change the damage, change the elemental affinity of each of your spells.
Shit.
A bargain is a bargain.
Wow.
Can
Keep
I
in
insight
mind-
check him?
Yeah, go
Is
for it. Make
he-
an insight check.
Yeah, is he like...
Keep in mind this item was said to be created by Tiamat herself. An item to be worn by her avatar,
That's pretty good.
a figure of power representing her on the material plane. Treat it carefully.
21. Mira, you get the sense he's not lying. Everything he's told you is true. You get the sense there's more to this. He's not shared everything, but
Hmm.
definitely what he's just told you, he seems to believe anyway.
I do have some control over it.
For the time being, how often have you used it? A handful.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you've only used it like 3 or 4 times.
Beware over-reliance on such a tool. It gives and takes.
Elia nods. Thank you for the warning, Fafnir. Right. You get to that inventory, we will get to returning the items, and who knows, maybe we'll have everything back before you've even finished your inventory.
Unlikely.
I will be running at an efficiency of 41 points. Yes, Fafnir, fantastic. Good luck. Great, thank you. Everybody on my back right now. As Elia transforms back into a silver dragon. Everyone on my back. Everyone on my back. As you guys climb on and she takes off and flies off.
Let's go.
she you know, in your minds you hear, well, that could have gone worse. I think
I think you took it
it
rather
went
well.
okay. Well,
I think we
I'll
did
get
well.
I'll get you back to Bacchus. We can start making our way to the Shattered Isles. Well, you can. I think I best be staying behind here. There's a lot that this city needs to do for recovery and for repair, and I suspect I'll be needed. But if you ever need me, I'm just a call away. Alrighty, we will wrap up for tonight there. We have gone a little bit over time, but we'll wrap up there. I think that's a good point to
Huge.
wrap up, and we'll launch
No,
into
definitely.
the next chapter. We've just finished the most recent chapter. I've gone through and I've reorganized all of the episodes into chapters. This was chapter 8, Legacy of the... Oh no, sorry. This was chapter 7, Chariot. We're now moving into chapter 8, Legacy of the Dragons.
Can I do one thing before we head off?
Yes, you can.
I just want to, as we get on her back
Yes.
and everyone gets on, I pull Lockie back.
Oh,
Hello, Lockie. I have a quick request for you, if that's okay. And I'm seeing where Shana is.
At the very front of the dragon, clutching on the front with
So,
her hands, tail wrapped
from
around the
my-
backtail spike.
From my memory, I made a sketch of the stone that was given to her by
Yep.
Varys, and I go to Lockie. Lockie, can you make me something that looks exactly like this?
Oh, I mean, well, actually,
It's like a
with this new-
gemstone. It's like a gemstone,
It
like
does,
some sort of weird moonstone.
With this new
Exactly like this.
thing that
Though.
I've got, I probably could use it like a stonecutter's tool. Yeah, I think I could probably make something if you get me a gem that looks a little bit like this. Does it need to be magical or anything, or is it just a mundane construction?
Was that like stone radiating magic, or was it like?
Not to the naked eye, but if you suspect that if you'd cast Detect Magic, it would have been absolutely radiating some sort of magic.
Maybe just some magic to have some. Nothing like to stand out, just something underlying, something more. Like just radiating power, but not really like.
Actually powerful.
Extravagant or anything like that. Just
Actually, that's easy. I could put some words or a message into it, or
it doesn't need to be anything.
Happy
like
birthday.
no, I mean like as in like I can imbue the stone to speak words.
Varys,
In
suck
doing
my
so,
dick.
unless you actually activated it, it would seem magical, but it would just hold like you've activated it. Just says something along the lines, anything that you would like. But 25 words. Yeah, that would do.
We'll discuss the words that be said, but I really need this post haste, like as quick as we can. I look around. I don't know if we've gotten any gemstones and such. So
Have
I
to look
guess
through the bag of Holden.
before we leave, like, I don't think we'll have any because we've probably sold it. But before we leave,
You know who has the
Shiari-
gemstone? It's
Yeah, of course I
Shana.
do.
How stealthy are you being about this?
Oh
Jenny?
no, I'm just being pretty stealthy.
Yeah.
But I'm more than anything just looking at Shana, make sure she's not catching on. And I
Okay.
say, well, before I leave Chiari, I'll try and find something similar so we can base it off that and make it look exactly like that.
Okay. So, what is this for? Is it a present or something?
Yes, a present.
Jin,
Utmost importance.
As you finish this conversation with Lockie, you look down. Your shadow, which has 2 eyes in it, and a frown, disappears back into your shadow.
Can I inside check that it's a?
You can insight check Jin.
I'm
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
to.
Well, when I said, "What is it? Is it a present?" He said, "Yes." Can I?
Yeah, it's a present.
That's a present. Okay.
Yervith
Oh,
hears this
that's-
conversation, yeah.
That's a
Yervith's
lovely
passive
present.
perception is like 20.
I'm gonna say as
21.
I see the frown. Do I see
Yeah.
that shadow?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna say in my mind, don't be alarmed. I don't have one, and I want to curry more favor with you than Shana. I'm going to do a swap, maybe. Have her look the fool while I have all the glory.
Make me a deception check. Or because I think you're lying, aren't you? Are you tell me. You make a persuasion or a deception check
Yeah.
depending on what you make a persuasion or deception check, whichever you think is
Pretty good though.
I pass
It's
over
probably-
to you.
Pretty good.
Look, persuasion means I would be going for that, but I'm probably not.
You're deceiving
Is
him,
it the
right?
same modifier? Because if it's the same modifier, just roll 1. And
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. My persuasion is plus 13, and my deception is plus 9.
It would be a deception check.
It's
though, for
deception,
sure.
though.
If you're not
100%.
intending, yeah, deception it is then.
Yeah,
18.
yeah.
It's not too bad.
18.
Better.
Pretty good.
yeah.
The frown
A fun
turns
trick-
into a
fun trick.
large
When you're not
smile.
building a character that you want to deceive the DM with, make sure your persuasion and deception is the same. It doesn't matter what you roll.
Yeah. The frown turns into a large smile, Jin. A knowing smile. And sinks back into your shadow, disappearing.
Oof, what does that
I'm
mean?
gonna do
And
insight on
that's
that real quick.
that's where we wrap up for tonight.
20 on insight. Do I gain any insight from that?
20. You get the sense that for the moment your deception is successful.
Okay. Good.
And with that, we wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you thank you. We will see you all again next week for more Dungeons & Dragons, tomorrow night for more Avatar Legends. And if you have enjoyed everything that you've seen tonight, or even little bits of it, please hit the like button on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you are on podcasts and you can leave us a review, leave us a review. We'd love to have a review. And obviously, we want to hear your comments. We want to hear any stories you might have to share from your time playing D&D or any other tabletop RPG. Share us a story and I'll read it out at the beginning of the session. That's all from me. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you again next time. Stay safe, stay well. See you then. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.